79%. Chapter 401 Air Supremacy, Slam the Lauder Family Fleet. Wait until the dazzling energy light covering that Nemesis dissipates together with the energy light that exploded on the opposite side. Everyone discovered that the goddess of Nemesis was intact. Not even the phantom of the battleship faded. This discovery not only shocked the Imperial guards present. At the same time, it also shocked those high-level officials from various countries who watched this scene through satellite real-time monitoring. Watrefa. How is this possible? Is that Qin Tian's battleship really that powerful? How much HP does this Nemesis have? According to the data calculated by our data analysts, the concentrated fire attack of those main alien interstellar battleships just now can hit at least more than 200,000 in the world of warships. Its blood, after losing more than 200,000 blood, the Phantom is not even dimmed at all, so it's possible that Nemesis's blood volume exceeds 500,000. President, I think the 723 motion proposed by the Welsh MP just now is very correct. We should vote for it. Indeed, we'll just have to make a show of resisting it. If we really offend this woman to death, God knows what she will do. I don't think the gods of our empire can be much stronger than these alien fleets. Quote. Seconded. The meeting hall that was divided into two factions just now was full of quarrels. After witnessing Mu Ningshui's strength with his own eyes, the decision at this moment was surprisingly unanimous. Even Ale, who was firmly opposed just now, chose to shut up from the bottom of his heart at this moment. After Mu Ningxue wiped out the remaining dozen main interstellar battleships of the alien creatures, turning around, he joined the battle against those small airships. With the addition of Mu Ningxue, the 180,000 alien fleet responsible for guarding this area was wiped out in less than half an hour. The remaining thousands of surviving airships of the alien fleet saw that something was wrong. Immediately, he couldn't care about the task or not. The FKER chose to collapse and escape. Mu Ningxue asked Zhang Boren to count the casualties. It was found that the 50,000 Imperial guards had sacrificed more than 2,000 soldiers. The casualties of more than 2,000 soldiers were exchanged for the destruction of hundreds of thousands of alien fleets. This is definitely an unprecedented victory. But Mu Ningxue was not so happy. She waved. After letting everyone clean up the battlefield, they led the team across the void. Continue to hurry towards the direction of Lighthouse Empire. And in World of Warships, Carl, who saw Qin Tian's message, was completely annoyed at this moment. It was also at this time that he suddenly remembered the stupid things done by the relatives of the Lauder family in this world. This is just great. This is really pitting him into a volcanic crater. The two sides are doomed to live and die. In order not to lose face, he also sent another tough message to Qin Tian. Carl Lauder at Qin Tian. Fake. Qin Tian, it seems that you are determined to stay with the Lauder family forever. If so, then I will fulfill you. Although he was very calm. But in fact, there is already a group of panic in my heart. Filled with deep fear, there is no air supremacy. He sees no hope of winning this war. But in this case, he has no way out. So after much deliberation, he could only bite the bullet and use material rewards to boost morale, making the final struggle. Notify me, attack with all my strength. Whoever can sink Qin Tian's Nemesis, I will directly upgrade his battleship to aircraft carrier. By the way, let everyone take anti-aircraft measures at the same time, and be careful of the opponent's fighter jets. Yes, Commander. After issuing this order, Carl immediately felt the morale of his fleet rising rapidly. This made him calm down. Judging by this posture, at least he can struggle a little longer. After all, his fleet still has more than 10,000 warships. As long as he seizes an opportunity, he might be able to fight back to the limit. In short, he was unwilling to give up easily. Boom boom boom. Shish. The fierce battle started instantly. The two sides once again fell into a situation of chasing and fleeing. Qin Tian opened the attribute panel of Nemesis and took a look. It was just a round of attacks that were focused on fire. Goddess of Nemesis, the blood volume of 620,000 dropped directly to more than 500,000. This still has a bonus of 5% of Union's defensive characteristics. Otherwise, more blood will be lost. It can be seen from this. In World of Warships, the number of battleships is still very useful most of the time. It seems that the Lauder family has been dealt with. Before he returned to his god-level treasure island, he had to go to the copy of Forgotten Treasure and the copy of Sea of Death for a while. After all, the area of the god-level treasure island is too large. He also needs to get some warships for daily patrols and material collection. Calculate like this. He had to get at least 1 or 2,000 battleship blueprints. After thinking about what to do next, he turned his attention to the battlefield in front of him again. Old Dong, connect me to Rui's communication and tell him that fighter jets only target destroyers. Observe the situation of the entire battlefield from the plane map. After discovering Rui, they wiped out the fighter group of the Lauder family. After completely controlling the air supremacy, Qin Tian immediately gave instructions to Dong Zhuang. Yes, Captain, hear Qin Tian's order. Dong Zhuang nodded his head. Immediately, he opened the contact communication and started to connect with Rui. After Rui received Qin Tian's order, immediately and unambiguously, switch the communication channel and say to Yun Yan, Yun Yan, the captain has ordered that we only attack destroyers. Repeat, we only attack destroyers, it's over. Yun Yan received it. Yun Yan received it, it's over. With the end of the communication between the two, the situation on the battlefield was reversed in an instant. The warplane roared. Missiles roar. 2 formations of fighter jets hovered over the head of the Lot family fleet at high speed. Although the Lauder family fleet also has a lot of near anti-aircraft guns and anti-aircraft naval guns, but the attack value is really too low for fighter groups that are all at the Genesis level, as long as it is not hit by thousands of ship-to-air missiles and artillery shells at the same time. Then the following fleet is not a big threat to Zon 5.9 fighter jets. In contrast, there are more than 20 unmanned fighter jets. Under the leadership of Rui and Union, a series of bombs or a series of cannon attacks were dropped from time to time. The destroyer below can only be beaten passively. Every minute, several or even a dozen destroyers were blown up by bombs, and then sank into the sea without a trace. Lost air supremacy. In front of Rui and Union, the battleships of the Lauder family's fleet were like underage children with little fighting power. Can only be beaten passively like a headless chicken. During this period, Rui still kept Qin Tian's advice in mind, silently counting the maintenance time of undead nature. Whenever the time reaches 40 minutes, he will let all fighters, including his own fighters, fly back to the Nemesis in batches one after another to accept the rebuff of Phoenix buff. 80%. Chapter 402 Falling from Heaven to Hell. This is a good punishment. It can also be seen how much the difference between high-quality pilots and ordinary pilots is. Think back to when the Phoenix was in the hands of the Cyril family. The opponent's fighter group had to be killed, and then kept reviving with materials to maintain the undead nature bonus again and again. And put it on Rui and Union's side. Under the leadership of both of them, the probability of a group of unmanned fighter jets being destroyed is 1 in 10. Most of them have to fly back to the Nemesis every 40 minutes to re-bless the undead nature buff. This made Qin Tian both amused and helpless. It can only be said that the buff bonus time of Phoenix is too short for people like Rui and Union who rely on technology to make a living. Fight for an hour without getting knocked out without having to worry about resupply. It's as simple as eating and drinking. No pressure at all. That's all. After more than 3 hours of fierce fighting between the two sides, there are less than 4,000 destroyers left in the Lot family fleet. 21 But even so, Qin Tian still had no intention of stopping to confront the opponent head-on. Instead, continue to maintain the kite-flying style of play. This made Carl almost desperate. Walter gets back. This damn Yanlong man. Obviously they all have such strong strength, but they still have to be so cautious. This is really not leaving me a way out. Carl looked at Qin Tian's style of play that didn't get carried away in the slightest, and still maintained a stable posture. I couldn't help becoming impatient in my heart. And how could he know? Qin Tian's kind of lion fights the rabbit and does his best, and the steady habit of a gentleman not standing under a dangerous wall is completely forced to practice during the hard work of survival in the previous life. But Carl didn't know this. But he knows one thing. That is, as the number of destroyers in its own fleet decreases, death was getting closer and closer to him. When there are only 1 or 2,000 destroyers left, even concentrated fire will not pose any threat to Qin Tian. That was the time when the island of the Lot family was destroyed, and he, Carl, was buried with the shipwreck. Think here. Carl couldn't sit still, while regretting in my heart that I went to trouble Zhang Zongjun's Tianshu Island because of impulsiveness. He also began to think of a way out for himself. Since Qin Tian made no mistakes, then he can only take advantage of the fact that the battlefield is now 40 or 50 kilometers away from him. The two sides were fighting in full swing and ran away. Although the fighters in the sky may not give him this opportunity. But at least there is a chance of survival. If only to stay. It's just about people in the family attacking Qin Tian's wife and daughter. It is estimated that he will have to die 10,000 times. So he has to run. Must run. Make up one's mind. Carl ran onto his battleship in 3 steps and 2 steps. Then let the crew sail quickly towards the other side of the island with full horsepower. Captain, Master Rui has sent a communication. Nemesis, enter. Dong Zhuang suddenly turned his head and said to Qin Tian. Ask him what it is. Qin Tian spoke. Dong Zhuang nodded, put on a headset and connected to the communication. Master Rui, this is Nemesis, please tell me if you have anything to do. After listening for a while, Dong Zhuang turned his head to look at Qin Tian and said, Captain, Master Rui said that there is a battleship heading towards the island and is heading towards the opposite direction. It seems to be an important member of the Lot family. Master Rui asked if we want to sink it. Quote. Upon hearing this, Zula checked the radar. Then he nodded to Qin Tian and said, it is true that the red dot of a battleship has just been displayed, and it is heading in the opposite direction from us at a distance of 57 kilometers. Qin Tian thought about it. I immediately had a guess in my heart. This should be that guy Carl. It seems that the children of these rich capitalist families are almost of the same virtue. Get used to a life where everything is superior to others. Not at the moment of life and death. They often can't inspire a bloody last stand to fight. Thinking of the fact that the Lot family offered a reward for the assassination of their wife and daughter in the dark world. Qin Tian immediately sneered, and said lightly, tell Rui, leave him alone for the time being, first sink a few hundred more destroyers here. Okay, Captain. Dong Zhuang nodded. Immediately, Qin Tian's order was sent over. Everyone who saw this scene in the live broadcast room was a little stunned. Come on, God Qin, what does this mean? Do you want to let Carl go? Shouldn't be. With God Qin's character, it's not enough to grab Carl and press him on the ground and rub it hard 100 times. But God Qin really said just now that he doesn't care about the other party. That Zula said that Carl is already 57 kilometers away from God Qin. If he ran for dozens of kilometers, wouldn't he be able to run out of the detection range of the battleship radar? Please, can you see clearly? God Qin clearly said not to worry about it for the time being, which proves that he will definitely not let the other party go easily. No matter how fast it is, it can still be faster than 20 or 30 supersonic fighter jets. I think Qin Shenba is playing tricks on the other side, maybe to let Carl raise the hope of escaping, and then wait until the time is almost up, then cruel and ruthless strangled his hope in the cradle. 666. Makes sense. Falling from heaven to hell, this punishment is much more cruel than going up and sinking directly. If Qin Tian knew about the remarks in the chat channel in the live broadcast room, I'm afraid I will give a thumbs up and say, Iron Fan. Even the black-bellied plan hidden so deep in his stomach can be guessed so easily. Is this not iron powder? And around the waters of Lot Island, Qin Tian and the others could discover Carl's escape. The chosen one of the Lotter family fleet will naturally be able to find it at 210. Seeing that the commander-in-chief of his family did not hesitate to drive the battleship and abandon them and flee. The morale of the Lotter family's fleet, which had already been almost beaten, suddenly disappeared. The outermost warships also began to flee in all directions. Carl's escape completely triggered the butterfly effect. In an instant, the entire Lot family fleet was driven, and there was no longer a chosen one who was willing to stand in front to resist. Everyone started to run away desperately. In fact, they almost couldn't afford to fight if they wanted to. Without Carl's material assistance, their stock of sheet metal has long since bottomed out. Rui and Union, who were in the midst of the air raid, naturally would not miss this opportunity. Overjoyed in his heart, he let go of his hands and feet and launched an attack. Especially Ray, directly lower the height of the Genesis J-31 stealth fighter. Harvest the battleships of the Lotter family with mythical A-16 Vulcan 20mm 6-barreled aviation cannon. It only takes a few minutes. His myth-level aircraft guns tore apart the hulls of more than 20 destroyers. The surrounding warships were so frightened that they ran away desperately. Ha ha ha, Hong Bao, turn around for me, we will also drive there to harvest. For Qin Tian, this scene is also the one he most wishes to see. He wished he could end the fight as soon as possible. This battle took 4 to 5 hours. His high-quality metal sheet materials directly consumed more than 7 million yuan. He was so distressed that he could hardly breathe. 80%. Chapter 403 Capture thousands of warships and recruit crew members on board. Seeing Carl abandon the fleet and escape alone sparked the rout. Qin Tian is naturally happy to hear and see. Immediately, he was no longer afraid of the scattered lot fleet. Directly issued an order. Forget it, don't turn around in circles, Hong Bao, let the battleship fly into the air, let me hang them in the air. Yes, Captain. After receiving the order, Chu Hongbao began to operate with excitement on his face. Dong Zhuang also quickly picked up the microphone and turned on the announcement, Attention! Attention! The battleship is about to take off, please stand firm and hold it up. Attention! Attention! The battleship is about to take off, please stand firm and support it. As the humming of the engine became louder, the 6 jets on both sides and the 8 jets behind it began to emit faint blue flames. Then, under the dumbfounded gaze of countless God-chosen members of the Lot family fleet, Nemesis flew straight up into the sky with waterfalls one after another, and then turned around slowly, then launched a counterattack condescendingly towards the fleeing Lot fleet below. As the saying goes, if the wolf turns his head back, he will either repay his kindness or take revenge. At this time, Qin Tian explained the meaning of this sentence very well. Naval guns roared and missiles flew across the sky. Those destroyers and frigates were wiped out by his anti-ship missiles. Only one piece is needed to directly empty the entire blood vessel. The 10 or 20 cruisers were stronger, but he couldn't withstand the attack of his 2 anti-ship missiles. Soon 3 or 4 ships were sunk. As for the huge number of gunboats, that's even easier. 3 Genesis-class triple-mounted Mk 406mm main naval guns, and 1 Genesis-class Mk 73-203mm naval gun. Naval guns are free to fire. Just get hit by a shot. That's a shot into the soul. The gunboat will inevitably be shot and exploded. Coupled with the densely packed rocket launchers covering a large area from time to time and the crazy harvest of fighter jets in the sky. At this moment, the goddess of Nemesis really exerted its creation-level combat power to the extreme. The battleships below were sunk one after another by him. The bodies of countless crew members sank from the surface of the sea to the bottom of the sea. But the next moment more new crew members struggled to fill those vacancies. Then it didn't take long to turn into a new corpse. The cruelty of war is vividly reflected at this moment. The dark god of death, chanting the prelude to death, reaps his unique fruits on this battlefield to his heart's content. Finally, under the pressure of the king and the high-intensity death, some chosen ones couldn't take it anymore. Directly ordered his crew to raise the white flag representing surrender. They want to take a gamble. See if Qin Tian will let them go after he surrenders. And in fact, they bet right. Watching this scene, the corner of Qin Tian's mouth raised, and he said directly to Zula and Dong Zhuang, Old Zhu, Old Dong, don't attack the warships that surrendered. At this time, he already regarded the NPC crew on these battleships as his greatest wealth. After all, he plans to form a fleet of his own on the god-level treasure island. In addition to the most basic 3 or 4 operating crew members, each warship, a cook and 2 sailors are also essential. So it works out. A battleship must have at least 6 crew members. If you want to build a fleet of 2,000 warships, you must recruit at least 12,000 crew members. Do not rely on this kind of war and plunder. Relying on search and rescue from the sea alone. Then even if he searched and rescued for 10 years, he might not be able to save so many people. And as the naval guns of the Nemesis let go of the battleships flying the white flag to surrender, such an obvious phenomenon immediately attracted the attention of other battleship gods. Some undecided Lot fleet chosen began to contact each other. George, shall we surrender? I don't want to surrender, but if I don't surrender, I can only die. The question is, will we survive if we surrender? You have to give it a try. That Yanlong man has the air supremacy. If he escapes from us, he will definitely not be able to escape. If he doesn't surrender, he will definitely die. If he surrenders, he may still have a chance. Dialogues like these were played out among the surviving Lot fleet chosen. In the end, the remaining thousands of destroyers, thousands of frigates, gunboats, and several cruisers surrendered one after another. In the end, even 2 aircraft carriers and 2 battleships that were far away were flying white flags. Especially those 2 aircraft carriers are the most aggrieved. No way, since the nearly 200 carrier-based drones and fighter jets on them were shot out. Their 2 aircraft carriers became spectators. If it weren't for Qin Tian's fighter jets, they would attack destroyers first. I'm afraid that these 2 aircraft carriers have been blown out of blood and sank to the bottom of the sea to feed the fish. In the control room of Nemesis, Qin Tian watched the thousands of naval guns go out in front of him, and the battleships that had completely given up resistance. The corners of his mouth raised slightly and he began to speak through a loudspeaker. Hello, chosen one of the Lot family, I am Qin Tian, chosen one of the Yanlong Empire. Now I need you to gather the battleships in an area, and all personnel will stand on the deck for control after they are moored and turned off. After making these announcements, Qin Tian intentionally did not turn off the loudspeaker, and said to Dong Zhuang, Old Dong, send a message to Union and ask her to lead the drone team to intercept Carl. If that guy surrenders, he will be detained. Resist and sink him directly. At the same time, order Rui to lead a team to patrol this area, and any warship that dares to make any changes will be sunk directly, even if it accidentally damages the surrounding warships, it doesn't matter. Yes, Long. Dong Zhuang took the order and began to communicate. Soon Union drove her Genesis F-35 stealth fighter and led a team of drones away. Rui led a team of drones to circle the area. See this scene. The God-chosen members of the Lot family suddenly fell silent. But not everyone is so honest and willing to accept the outcome of failure. In the eyes of some chosen ones, since Qin Tian captured them, they must be rectified and inspected. Wang lies when the time comes, they, the chosen ones, will take the lead. Leading thousands of sailors, they swarmed up and captured Qin Tian. If you're lucky, you might be able to complete an epic gang battle. Completely reverse the outcome of this battle. Until then, everything on the Qin Tian battleship is theirs. The more I think about it, the more excited I get. Driven by these chosen ones, all the warships moved quickly. Soon thousands of warships gathered together. Then those God-chosen led the NPC crew they searched and rescued scattered, more or less standing on the deck waiting for inspection. Hong Bao, fly the battleship close to them, don't get too close. Seeing that it was almost done, Qin Tian finished speaking to Chu Hongbao. Then he opened the door of the control room and walked out. Li Yao and Wei Hu saw him come out. Immediately, he brought dozens of combat crew members to the county in front of him. 80%. Chapter 404 What a Wolf. Mu Ningxie hit the lighthouse. Captain, there are too many people on the other side. Wouldn't it be too dangerous for us to go down rashly and take over? Came in front of Qin Tian. Li Yao, who has rich combat experience, noticed something was wrong when he saw the scene below. Immediately, he frowned and dissuaded Qin Tian. But in the face of Li Yao's persuasion, Qin Tian said with a smile, Xiao Yao, your worry is very reasonable, but I didn't say I want to go down. Don't go down. How can we take over those battleships, Captain? Hear Qin Tian's words. Li Yao asked with a confused face. It's very simple, just look at me. Qin Tian smiled lightly. Then he stepped to the edge of the deck, looking down at the members of the Lot fleet with different expressions in his eyes coldly and full of majesty. Then he said in a calm tone, Very well, it seems that we have initially established a basic trust between each other. With this premise, I believe that our future cooperation will be very pleasant. Now, then, I want you to separate from your respective crews. All chosen ones can gather on the deck of the battleship on your left. And all the crew will go to the 2 aircraft carriers on the far right to assemble, and you have an hour to assemble. Quote. What? Separate us from our crew? Fuck. Why? Although we surrendered, we also have human rights. That's right, we won't do it. Qin Tian, you don't have the right to ask us to do this. What if we pass by 863, and you kill all of us God-chosen with a few shots? Yes, others can be promised, but this is absolutely not. Hearing that Qin Tian planned to separate them, the chosen ones, from their respective crew members. Those who had originally harbored evil intentions suddenly couldn't sit still. They all took the lead and started to make noise. Qin Tian wrote down the few people who spoke first and followed the rhythm. Seeing that a minute has passed, the people below are still there and have to talk endlessly, making a lot of noise. Qin Tian immediately decided to help them recognize the reality. Without further ado, as soon as he moved his mind, he aimed must-hit at the cruiser gods chosen who took the lead first. As the 3 Genesis-class triple-mounted Mk 406mm main naval guns turned the barrels, they aimed at the past. The blonde foreign devil who was shouting happily just now was cowardly in an instant. His eyes widened because of fear, and he shouted loudly with fear on his face, Qin Tian, you can't do this. I have already surrendered. What you are doing is torturing the captives. The live broadcast room outside is watching. You are around as the admiral of the Yanlong Empire. You will bring unimaginable stains to the Yanlong Empire by doing so. And when you face CBDG in the future, who else would dare to give up resistance and surrender? And facing the panicked words of the other party, Qin Tian said indifferently, you don't need to put a high hat on me, and I will not do anything to them if they are honest captives, but a thorn like you who has evil intentions and picks heads when encountering something, I don't mind giving you a good time, it just so happens that I don't worry too much. As for what you said that no one dares to surrender in the future, that's just right, I'll just kill them all when the time comes, and save time wasting on rectification. Quote. Hiss. Hearing Qin Tian's words, the chosen ones and crew members of the countless Lot family fleet below all gasped involuntarily. They all secretly said, this Yanlong man is really a wolf. Is it that serious to kill? It's just that they haven't waited for their reaction. I saw the goddess of Nemesis flying in midair. The 39406mm main naval guns suddenly let out a deafening roar. Then in the eyes of the blonde foreign devil who couldn't believe it, 27 shells hit his ships one after another. In an instant, a huge fireball exploded from the inside out, after devouring him and several crew members around him. The entire cruiser quickly sank into the sea because the sinking effect was triggered. And because the distance between the battleships is not too far. This wave of explosions also affected 5 or 6 surrounding gunboats. Poor those gunboats suffered an indiscriminate disaster. A tube of blood was directly blown off half of the tube. Fortunately, this is a semi-digital world. To stay in this world, just this one, the warships around them must all explode together in an instant. And for these, Qin Tian was completely indifferent. He said calmly, then, does anyone want to question my order? Seeing that the people below were silent like cicadas, they dared not look up at him again. Only then did Qin Tian continue to say, if not, then act according to what I said before. Remember, you only have 1 hour, and the consequences of not completing, I believe you are unwilling to face it. Although Qin Tian spoke very calmly, but the chosen ones of the Lot family fleet didn't know why. After hearing this sentence, the whole body trembled involuntarily. Then a group of people scrambled to take action. In fact, it's not just these chosen ones. Even those viewers in the live broadcast room. After watching Qin Tian say that sentence calmly, they also shivered with a chill down their spines. I'll go, what happened just now? Why Qin Shen's expressionless words made me involuntarily feel the fear of facing death. Damn it, me too. I just watched Qin Shen say this, and I couldn't help but think of the scene where I was almost captured by an alien miscellaneous airship last time, and now my back is still wet. I think this should be a kind of power, just like the one written in ancient books. The ancient emperors had the air of emperors, domineering and confident, and they had a convincing majestic atmosphere in every gesture, and God Qin should also be a kind of power. The momentum, but it is likely to be the kind of killing momentum. Just when a group of people in the live broadcast room were discussing this topic with great interest, a chat message that popped up suddenly interrupted these discussions in an instant. Oh my god, it's crazy. Qin Tian's wife led a team to defeat our lighthouse guards and border guards, and has already brought people to New York City. At the same time, a short video of half a minute is attached below. After opening it, you can see that Mu Ningxie, who has crystal fair skin, beautiful facial features, and thick black hair fluttering like a waterfall, is driving the beautiful and unique goddess of Nemesis with countless imperial guards from the Yanlong Empire. Flew mightily into New York City, which is known as Liberty City. This scene can be said to stir up 1,000 waves with one stone. Instantly attracted the attention of countless people around the world. I'll go. Goddess Mu actually called over. Niu Pai, have you crossed the border of Tata to New York City so soon? Shiba, this woman is too fierce. Judging from this posture, the Lot family is 100% going to be exterminated today. To provoke her is really the stupidest decision the Lot family has ever made. Oh my god, the Lot family is gone. After Mu Ningxie took people to fly to the Lot family's manor, some of the surviving members of the Lot family were bombed just as they were about to fly up. The firepower is too fierce up. Oh, my god, what is she doing? Is this going to burn the whole manor to the ground? 80%. Chapter 405 Destroy the Lotter family, I don't mind giving you a ride. Oh, I bought it. Oh, I bought it. One of the gods who just flew up should be the eldest son of the Luote family. As a result, the eldest son of the Lot family was sent back as soon as the two sides fought against each other. He didn't know whether he was alive or dead. It can only be said that the gap between the two sides is really too big. The person who sent the message before was like a war reporter broadcasting in real time. Messages were sent one after another explaining the situation at the scene. After sending the message, he also attached another video below. Everyone eagerly opened it to watch. Inside, there was a scene where the goddess of Nemesis was bombarding the manor of the Lot family and the gods below with full firepower. The time lasted for more than 5 minutes. In the video, Nemesis's naval guns and missiles are constantly firing, at the same time. Nearly 30 fighter jets are still pouring down a string of bombs over the Lot manor like water, another string of bombs. The horrible explosion and the soaring flames made people think that this was the night of the Sakura National Barbecue Festival in history. And at this moment, after completely destroying the estate of the Lot family, Mu Ningxie left New York directly with the 50,000 Imperial Guards. This made all the top executives of the Beacon Empire, who had been paying close attention to the movement here, let out a sigh of relief. But just when they started to discuss how to suppress the affairs of the Lotter family, a piece of news made them jump up again. That is, Mu Ningxie did not leave the lighthouse boundary with the 50,000 Imperial Guards. Instead, he turned a corner and headed for Shia City. This surprised those members of Congress. Oh, damn it, how did she fly to Seattle? It should be a coincidence, maybe the other party just admires the place and wants to go sightseeing. Oh, Harold, do you believe what you say? Speaker, should we send someone to intercept it? If that woman is really going to trouble the headquarters of the Dark World, the loss to us will be immeasurable. Listen to what some MPs have to say below. After hesitating for a moment, Archibald said, "Forget it, let that woman go make a fuss. It's time for the Dark World to make a fuss. Inform those who have close ties with us, let them keep a secret and go out first. Hide for a while and let them come back after this turmoil passes, then this matter will be completely over." Then, in the case of the high-level lighthouse deliberately giving the green light, Mu Ningxie came to the outside of Shia City with 50,000 troops unimpeded. The results needless to say. The headquarters of the gloomy world that has been hiding in the Lighthouse Empire for decades and has made countless people fearful. On this day ushered in his darkest hour. And at this moment, in World of Warships, while Qin Tian was quietly waiting for the chosen ones and crew members of the Lotter family fleet to board the 3 warships he had specified, he suddenly saw a flicker of light on the flight deck on the other side where a large pile of supplies was piled up. Then immediately there was a pile of materials like a hill. That height must be at least 7 or 8 meters high. Seeing these supplies, Qin Tian was stunned for a moment. But then he reacted. This is obviously part of the materials captured by Yun Yan's battleship that sank Carl. It seems that that guy Carl also knows that he will definitely die when he returns to meet Qin Tian. So he had a desperate fight with Yun Yan. The results are obvious. His strength was weak, and he was killed by Yun Yan. The corner of his mouth lightly raised a cold snort. Qin Tian didn't care about these anymore. Instead, he looked down again. At this point 1 hour is up. The following gods chosen and the crew have almost boarded the battleship he stipulated. Qin Tian immediately said to Wei Hu, "Ahu, go and inform Zula and Dong Zhuang to let them sink the empty gunboats, frigates and destroyers, and let Dong Zhuang give this order to Rui as well." "Yes, Captain. Hear Qin Tian's order." Wei Hu took the order and immediately ran towards the control room. And Qin Tian looked at Wei Hu's back and fell into deep thought. It seems that we need to get some handy weapons for this kid. This time, if Wei Hu can sit on a naval gun and fire the cannon to stimulate the fighting state like Rui did before, then his nemesis blood volume will immediately increase to more than 900,000. Asking for flowers. Moreover, Wei Hu who entered the combat state can also increase the defense bonus of the battleship on duty by 10% and the damage-free bonus by 10%. It can be said that the survival ability is directly full. Such a baby bump. Qin Tian felt that he couldn't waste it no matter what. If it doesn't work, let the other party fly the plane. Anyway, it has the fuff bonus of Phoenix. I'm not afraid that the other party will die. As Wei Hu gave Qin Tian's order, soon the Nemesis and the fighter group in the sky began to wreak havoc with full firepower. When the naval guns and missiles fired together, when the gunboats, frigates and destroyers gathered together were sunk one after another. All the chosen members of the Lot family who were crowded on the battleship were all stunned. Immediately afterwards, they roared in rage. "Ah, fuck, my battleship. Damn Qin Tian, you really have no good intentions. Bastard, my destroyer. That is the destroyer that I spent 2 years and countless painstaking efforts to successfully break through last month, Fox Squid. It's just that no matter how much the chosen ones of the Lauder family roar and plead, thousands of warships piled up together as targets cannot escape being sunk after all. But in just over half an hour, except for those cruisers, battleships and 2 aircraft carriers, all the other warships sank into the sea. Look at those chosen ones with wide eyes. Qin Tian stood on the goddess of Nemesis and stared at them, and said with a slight raise of the corner of his mouth, "You should be glad that I made the decision to surrender and not to kill. If it wasn't like this, you would have already died in the bottom of the sea with your battleship gone. Fact, what's the difference between you doing this and killing us?" The hot-tempered lottery chosen one said angrily. "At least I saved your life and gave you a battleship. If you feel wronged, you can use the battleship to hit me. I don't mind sending you a ride." Qin Tian looked down at the person who was speaking, and murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Someone with good eyes saw this scene and immediately stopped the person who had just spoken. 80%. Chapter 406. Meet the SS class crew again, the Minister of Engineering of the Chengxing Empire. He has already seen Qin Tian's method of killing as soon as he says it. Those who want to live don't want to ruin their lives because of someone's head iron. And there are some smart people who have also seen the clues. The reason why Qin Tian did this. Most likely it was directed at their NPC crew members. Reminiscent of Qin Tian's discovery of a god-level treasure island before. Now this move is obviously preparing for the formation of his own fleet. Some people who wanted to understand this raised their heads, looked at Qin Tian on the Nemesis, and asked with humility, "Then Captain Qin Tian, may we leave now?" For them, get out of here ASAP. It is the best choice to use this battleship to plunder other people's battleships. Although their battleship was destroyed. But according to the rules of World of Warships, the ship, 540, bound by the Chosen One himself was only destroyed. As long as the Chosen survives and has the ability to reoccupy and plunder a warship of another Chosen, then it is possible to rebind. So these gods chosen of the lottery fleet are burning with anger. But they still had a glimmer of hope, but they still didn't choose to tear their faces apart. He opened his mouth to ask Qin Tian and asked to leave. To this, Qin Tian didn't make things difficult for them either. Since it is said that surrender does not kill, there is no need to damage one's reputation for these guys who are no longer successful. In World of Warships, it is still necessary to have a good reputation. At least in some transactions can save a lot of trouble. And for the chosen ones below, Qin Tian could also predict what would happen to most of them. A battleship with few supplies left after several hours of high-intensity combat. How can there be food and drinking water to feed the 2,000 of them? It will take less than 2 days. These people probably have to turn against each other because of food and drinking water. Wait 3 or 4 days. The phenomenon of cannibalism may occur all the time. At that time, not only will this warship not be fully loaded with the hopes of these chosen ones. On the contrary, it will lead them into the boundless hell. Think of that scene. Qin Tian couldn't help but looked at them with dead eyes. Immediately, the word, roll, faintly spit out from his mouth. After letting them drive the battleship away as if they were amnesty, Qin Tian immediately set his sights on the 2 aircraft carriers full of crew members. He issued an order to Weiyu. "Ahu, go and inform Hong Bao to let him drop the battleship, and let Dong Zhuang contact Yao Lang by the way, and let them bring the Phoenix over." "Yes, Captain." Weiyu took the order to leave. Wait for the Nemesis to fall back to the sea and get close to the 2 aircraft carriers. Qin Tian boarded one of the aircraft carriers with dozens of fully armed combat crew members without fear. Li Yao, Weiyu, rectify the formation and let them stand in 2 rows. Qin Tian stopped in his tracks. Let Li Yao and Weiyu straighten out the formation of those crew members first. The 2 took the lead. Take someone to make the crew line up neatly. But in the face of Li Yao's rectification, there was no expression of resistance on the faces of those sallow and emaciated crew members. Like the Walking Dead, they stood in the queue very numbly. Qin Tian activated the divine detective technique. Filter one by one from the top. Obviously, these crew members did not have a decent life in the hands of the chosen one of the Lot family fleet. All of them looked extremely thin. Moreover, they didn't have much hostility toward Qin Tian, the intruder who invaded their homeland and expelled their captain. Hundreds of crew members were screened. No one has a negative number of loyalty to him. Almost all of them are in their mid-30s to their mid-50s. This made Qin Tian very satisfied, because this means waiting for him to show his strength. When conquering the loyalty of these crew members with rich and delicious food, that effect is definitely getting twice the result with half the effort. Don't worry about being backstabbed by these crew members in the future. And just as Qin Tian checked the past one by one, while inspecting, more than 1,000 people walked closer to the middle. A message he expected appeared. Name: Cartman. Identity: Chosen 1. Talent: Grade B. Loyalty: -66. Introduction: just like you, he is the chosen one from Blue Star. Looking at that -66 loyalty, and the hatred in the other party's blue eyes, no matter how you hide it. Qin Tian didn't have any extra nonsense. Directly let Wei Yu pull it out. Hey, Captain, what did I do wrong? Why did you pull me out alone? The chosen one named Cartman is still acting, said with an innocent expression on his face. However, Qin Tian didn't agree with him at all. Okay, Cartman, as a chosen one, you don't know that there is an auxiliary talent called detection. Qin Tian interrupted the other party's noise. Then he took out his Desert Eagle from the holster on his waist. Lie on. What detection talent? Can you even recognize this? Cartman secretly scolded Qin Tian for being a pervert. But seeing that the other party took out the Desert Eagle, Cartman immediately gave up. He said in a low voice, Qin Tian, no, God Qin, I was wrong. I sincerely came to rely on you. I was excluded everywhere in the Luote family. I really don't want to be in that purgatory on Earth again. If you stay in a daze, the diagram will make such a bad move. As long as you are willing to take me in, I will repay you like a cow and a horse in the future. Listen to the other party's words translated by the will of the world. There was some surprise in Qin Tian's eyes, and the corners of his mouth could not help but rise slightly. I have to say, your acting skills are really inferior if you don't go to acting, and you still repay me like a bully, so sincerely increase your loyalty from -66 to -87. I don't think you want to be a bully, Ma, you want to be the master of the house and kill me. Finished. Qin Tian didn't have ink marks either. Raise your arms. The Desert Eagle rests directly on Cartman's jaw. Then he pulled the trigger without hesitation amidst the terrified expression on the opponent's face. Instantly, the entire skull was shattered. The red 0.0 white thing flew towards the crew behind. After realizing that blood and slurry were splashed on his face, those crew members couldn't hold back and vomited crazily immediately. But there was an old crew member with gray hair and black eyes, and an oriental face, who was indifferent. Such an outstanding scene naturally caught Qin Tian's attention. He directly flung it with a divine detective technique. Name: Su Jian. Specialty: Maintenance. Talent: SS level. Talent skill: Super Maintenance SS level. During maintenance, increase the blood volume of the battleship on duty by 30%, and restore B0% of the blood of the battleship on duty every 10 seconds. Loyalty: 70. Introduction: Chengxing Empire's top mechanical maintenance engineer, the head of the Empire's engineering department, has a superb maintenance talent. After reading this introduction, Qin Tian couldn't help but was stunned. 81%. Chapter 407 King level meat for physical fitness, amethyst rice for 3 meals a day. He never expected it. You can still meet such a big fish here. SS level maintenance engineer. Isn't this the top nanny? If Nangong Li's innate skills are the treasure of the fleet, then this Su Jian's innate skill is the absolute gospel for a single god chosen. Restores 30% of HP every 10 seconds. This is simply the finishing touch to his goddess of nemesis, like a tiger with wings added. And the most amazing thing is that the other party is actually the head of the engineering department of the Chengxing Empire. Since they are from the Chengxing Empire, it will be much easier to handle. There is Rui, a great nobleman of the Chengxing Empire. Isn't it easy to take down this old man? Glancing at each other, Qin Tian calmly continued to check one by one. No way. The number of crew members he took in this time is really a bit too much. According to visual estimates, there must be more than 3,000 people. Just in case a god-chosen person sneaks into him and makes some tricks behind his back. Wouldn't that carelessness bring him huge losses? 21. After all, there is a good saying. The strongest fortresses are often breached from within. So Qin Tian would rather spend more time and energy to nip the danger in its infancy. I don't want to make up for it later. And then there's the scene where he shoots Cartman without batting an eye. Obviously, it drove the other lot fleet's chosen ones who wanted to pretend to be fakes to a desperate situation. When Qin Tian finished checking more than 2,000 people and came to the back position, suddenly, 3 foreign gods with daggers and pistols rushed out of the team with incomparable speed. Their goal is very clear, that is to kidnap Qin Tian and find a way to control Qin Tian's crew. It's just that they overestimated themselves and underestimated Li Yao and the others. Just the moment they rushed out of the team, only a few gunshots of bang bang were heard. It turned out that Li Yao, Zhang Zhengyi, and Yan Bin, who had been on guard all along, shot one step ahead of time. The marksmanship of the 3 hit the chest and eyebrows of the other 3 with precision. Those who caused those 3 people to die directly could not die again. Qin Tian continued his inspection with a blank face. After inspecting the first aircraft carrier, he then checked the second aircraft carrier. Sure enough, among the more than 1,000 people on the second aircraft carrier, 3 God-chosen members of the Lauder family were also forced out. Until all hidden dangers are checked. At this time, the time has come to the evening. Qin Tian ordered all the warships to return to the Lot Island of the Lot family. Leave Weiyu and more than 30 combat crew members to guard the battleship. Qin Tian led the group onto the island, in order to make his image more vivid and vivid in the hearts of those captured crew members. Qin Tian also specifically asked Elisa to bring the crew on the Phoenix into the crew, because Elisa and they are both blonde and blue-eyed. So first of all, the appearance can make those captured crew members feel kind and let go of part of their guard. In addition, the crew on the Phoenix were also prisoners of war who were defeated and captured by Qin Tian at first. So it can also resonate on this point, effectively reduce their vigilance. And the most important point is the mental outlook. Elisa and the others are the crew members under Qin Tian. All of them were wearing high-quality military uniforms. Powerful and vigorous, full of energy. At first glance, it is the owner who eats well and drinks well every day, and has no worries about food and clothing. Look at the captured crew again. 3,000 to 4,000 people, all of them were pale and emaciated, and their spirits were listless. Although it cannot be said to be skinny, but the weight is generally not more than 120 caddies. One stop there, the momentum of 3,000 or 4,000 people was completely crushed by Elisa and the 30 or 40 people. As the saying goes, comparing people, you will die, and goods will be thrown away. If there is no comparison, there will be no harm. Under this gap between one heaven and one underground, the hearts of the 3,000 or 4,000 crew members were naturally full of curiosity. I really want to know what Elisa's daily life is like. Then, more than 30 crew members on the Phoenix were forced to start their business to promote Qin Tian. What kind of king-level meat for physical fitness? Amethyst rice for 3 meals a day. Organic green sautéed vegetables. At the same time, there is an opportunity to eat fruit once a week. And often can take a bath. This and so on, a series of daily life. Almost envied the captive crew members who surrounded Elisa and the others. What? You can actually eat meat. I bought it. You have rice for your 3 meals a day. And can you still eat vegetables and fruits? My God, what kind of Eden is this for you? Surprises like this abound. Let's get ahead. Qin Tian, who pricked up his ears to hear all these exclamations, was secretly proud. Be envious. The more envious you are, the more eager you are. The more you desire, the more you look forward to. In a moment I'll treat you to a dinner you'll never forget. When the time comes, won't your loyalty be easily rocketed up? Just when Qin Tian thought of this, I happened to see a dozen huge trolleys on both sides of the front of the road. This made Qin Tian look happy. Li Yao was called immediately. Captain, what are your orders? Li Yao walked over quickly with his 2 little followers and asked aloud. Qin Tian pointed to the trolleys in front of him. Little 150 Yao, Yu, Zhengyi, and Yan Bin brought some people to push those trolleys to bring some amethyst rice. We will have a meal on the island tonight. But, Captain, what about your safety after we leave? Hearing Qin Tian's words, Li Yao immediately shook her head and said, let the 2 of them take someone there, I have to stay with the captain to protect your safety. The scene of being attacked by gods chosen many times on the battleship before is vivid in my memory. At this moment Li Yao firmly disagreed to take a step away from Qin Tian's side. Qin Tian, who had no choice but to agree, suddenly thought of the taste and texture of the 2 high-quality stoves on the battleship. There are no such bonuses. The taste of dinner must be lowered by several levels. Have no choice. Qin Tian had no choice but to say to Li Yao, come on, I'd better go back with you, and bring the 2 stoves with Lao Yu by the way. Then, Qin Tian called Elisa over. Let her lead the captive crew to their own settlements. Hear Qin Tian's words. Elisa asked curiously. Captain, where are you going? If you leave at this time, I'm afraid those captured crew members will guess wildly. Just appease them and say that we will spend the night on this island tonight, and dinner tonight will be amethyst rice, and we need to go back to the battleship to transport some. 81%. Chapter 408 Meet. I hope the captain will not let Rui die in vain. Hearing that Qin Tian planned to transport grain down, Elisa suddenly realized, immediately nodded and said no problem. She has personally experienced the taste of that kind of amethyst rice. If you let these captured crew members taste a meal, maybe they will kneel down and beg Qin Tian to let them join the fleet. More than 3,000 crew members knelt down and begged their captain to join. What a shocking scene that was. Think here. Elisa immediately went back and told everyone about it. At first, the captured crew members were a little worried when they heard that Qin Tian returned to the battleship with a group of combat crew members. Afraid that after Qin Tian threw them on the island, he would be very perverted and come to a centralized shooting. After all, it has been more than a year. They have also seen all kinds of perverted hobbies of those weird captains. It's just that after seeing that Elisa and the more than 30 crew members have been following their big team all the time, they don't have the slightest intention of leaving. Only then did the captured crew members feel relieved. Surrounded by Elisa, they walked towards the residential area. And Qin Tian's side is also very numb. Less than half an hour. Zhang Zhengyi and Yan Bin brought dozens of combat crew members, each pushing a cart of amethyst rice to the residential area full of wooden houses and stone houses. Qin Tian controlled the two stoves with his mind and followed slowly. Behind them are Li Yao, Yu Dai, Ma Yongganian and Yao Lang. And Rui and Union, who just took care of the fighter. In their hands were the metal cages and pots made by Yu Hai, as well as the barbecue grill and a lot of meat. Naturally, meat cannot be king-level meat. It was some elite sea beast meat that had been stored before. When a group of them unloaded bags of amethyst rice into an open space in the residential area, Qin Tian also put down the two stoves. Yu Hai, Wenjung and other crew members who can cook began to toss with a clear division of labor. Such a big movement naturally attracted the attention of the captured crew members in an instant. In the crowd, when Su Jian saw Rui and Union beside Qin Tian, his originally cloudy eyes suddenly became clear and round. The vicissitudes of the weather-beaten face also quickly flushed with excitement. Qin Tian stood there secretly observing the other party's reaction. After confirming that the expression on Su Jian's face was flushed because of excitement, it was not because of the jealousy of the enemy when they met each other. A faint smile could not help showing on Qin Tian's face. It seems that there is no problem. The three parties should be close friends or acquaintances in the Chengxing Empire. Not the kind of life and death enemy. Thinking of this, he immediately felt relieved. Then he shouted to the two people not far away, Rui, Union, you two come here. Hear Qin Tian's call. The two walked quickly in front of Qin Tian. Captain, are you calling us? Qin Tian nodded, looked at the two of them and said with a smile, follow me, I will take you to meet someone. Meet someone? Who is it? Rui and Union were dumbfounded. I'll know when I see you. Qin Tian smiled mysteriously. Immediately lead the way. It didn't take long to lead the two of them to Su Jian's not far away. There is no need for Qin Tian to say anything. Rui and Union immediately recognized the identity of the ragged old man with a weathered face. Grandpa Su. Yun Yan covered her mouth with her pale jade hands. Tears filled his eyes instantly. Rui also murmured. After being stunned for a few seconds in disbelief, he immediately pulled Yun Yan and ran over quickly. Respectively gently threw himself into the open arms of the old man. Union, Xiaori, it's really you guys. That's great, you're all still alive. Su Jian held the shoulders of the two juniors. At this moment, the old face full of wind and frost was filled with a happy smile. On that wrinkled face, the wrinkles of laughter were all squeezed together. Grandpa Su, have you been resurrected by the will of the world? But why is your condition so poor? At this moment, Yun Yan raised her red and swollen eyes from crying. Looking at Su Jian's face that was 30 or 40 years older than he remembered, he asked with distress. It is not difficult to see from the same group of crew members. In the hands of the chosen ones of the Lauder family fleet. I am afraid that the life of these crew members is very difficult. It's okay, I just experienced some things. It seems that Kai has made a lot of progress, but the two of you haven't changed at all, even your state is about to catch up with your previous peak period. Quote, Su Jian looked at the two with kindly surprised faces and said, Hey, this is all thanks to the captain. 3 meals a day, high-quality food is openly provided to us. Except for less variety and fewer dishes, the nutritional aspect is not much worse than when we were in the empire. Yun Yan said with a smile. Hear her. Qin Tian couldn't help but rolled his eyes upwards. Can this be his fault? It's obviously the cauldron of the will of the planet, okay. If you have the ability, you can let the will of the planet make the explosion rate of food higher and richer. At this time, Su Jian set his sights on Qin Tian. Then he asked Qin Tian. Hello, Captain, thank you very much for taking care of them these days. The old man is a little curious. Did you discover the old man when you killed the chosen one? Identity. Facing Su Jian's doubts, Qin Tian didn't hold back either. He nodded and said with a smile. Yes, I thought I was hiding it well, but I was still noticed by Minister Su. Su Jian waved his hand when he heard the words, and said with a wry smile, Mr. Su, the Chengxing Empire has become history. What kind of minister is the old man? You can treat Rui and Union so kindly. The old man is really grateful. The two of them, they are all straightforward people, and they don't understand those crooked intrigues. I only hope that, Captain, you can keep your original intentions forever, and don't be deceived by the traitor and let Rui die in vain again. If he dies again, he will probably disappear in this world forever. Death. Grandpa Su, what do you mean by that? Hear what Su Jian said. Not waiting for Qin Tian to speak, Yun Yan's eyes widened, and she asked with disbelief on her face, is there something wrong with the death of Zhao's head of the Dao? The empire is still intriguing under such a disadvantage. Even Rui himself frowned. There was obvious surprise and doubt on his face. Sigh, girl Union, you died early in the battle, and you don't know the situation of the empire behind. This conspiracy was only exposed 2 years after Rui's death in battle. With 2 hearts, in order to suppress the Yan family, several outstanding generals of the Yan family were sent into the enemy's ambush circle. What, is the monarch in a daze? I heard Su Jian say this. Yun Yan couldn't help being surprised and angry and said, the Yan family has been loyal and good for generations, and the 6 generals who have grown up are all peerless famous generals who can shock one side. Chairman Mao will cut off his arms and attack the Yan family. She just couldn't believe it. The monarch that I was loyal to before would become so stupid later on. Even Rui clenched his fists. His eyes were full of anger and resentment. 81%. Chapter 409 Conditions for Building an Interstellar Empire. Su Jian joined. For Ray. It is quite normal for a general to fight on the battlefield and return the body shrouded in horse leather. He is not afraid to die in battle, but betrayed by his own king himself. This betrayal was too much for him to bear. This way of dying also made him feel humiliated. Mr. Su, don't worry, you also said that the Chengxing Empire has become history, and now Rui and Union are my confidant generals. I can't give them too much attention and high hopes. They go to die. But at this moment, Qin Tian spoke. Just one sentence made Rui and Union calm down. Yun Yan nodded directly and said, that's right, the captain is right, the Chengxing Empire has become history, so who cares? Even the princes and nobles can suffer this kind of unfair treatment, and it is conceivable that the ordinary people at the bottom live well. Such a decaying empire, even if there are no external factors, will be overthrown from within sooner or later. Instead of being angry about it, the captain and I should think about how to help the captain rebuild a new dynasty. Quote. Speaking of which, Yun Yan seemed to have thought of some brilliant idea. Looking at Qin Tian, he said, Captain, seriously, or else we will build an interstellar dynasty in the future. With your character, Captain, once it is completed, it will definitely be a great 360 emperor with great wisdom and martial arts. As soon as Yun Yan said these words, immediately caused an uproar in the entire chat channel. Damn, this idea is awesome. Can God Qin really establish a dynasty in World of Warships? Then why not? In fact, we know very well that World of Warships and our world have become 2 completely opposite worlds. According to the words of the will of the planet, the World of Warships is actually the real world linked to the universe, and the world we live in now is just a sub-world created by the will of the planet itself, and we are not recognized by the rules of the universe. But if God Qin establishes an interstellar dynasty, what will happen to our empire? The empire is still an empire, and there is no conflict between them. After all, the basic disk of our human beings is still here, and there is the goddess Mu. Are you still worried that God Qin will not care about us? Impossible to ignore. Almost all the chosen ones have relatives and friends in this world, and they alone would not agree. That's right, so we don't affect anything at all. There was a heated discussion in the live broadcast room. In the world of warships, Qin Tian was also confused by Yun Yan's unconstrained thinking. You girl. Su Jian shook his head and said with a smile, building an interstellar empire is not such a simple matter. Huge population base, massive construction resources, and advanced technology that can be obtained. Without these three foundations, you can at most build a planet. The kingdom is still far from the interstellar empire. Yun Yan grinned slyly. How far, Grandpa Su? The captain earns supplies very quickly. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the latecomers to surpass him in less than half a year after entering the world of warships. Those who have been chosen by God for more than 2 years. You have also seen our strength. We are 1 against 10,000. Moreover, the captain's talent in science and technology can solve part of the problem. Now with you, the greatest engineer of the Chengxing Empire, our interstellar warships don't have to worry about it. Quote. Wait, young girl, what do you mean? You count as yours, why do you add the old man? Su Jian's eyes widened. Grandpa Su, look at what you said. You have met us and boarded our warship. Can we let you go? Isn't it, Captain? Yun Yan said and kicked the ball to Rui. Rui, who was not good at words, looked at Su Jian and nodded, and said quite agreeingly, that's right, Grandpa Su, this time you have to stay whatever you say. Besides, today's source number world has been sunk, and it has completely become a if you go to sea world. Even if you go elsewhere, where can you go? Hearing Rui's words, Yun Yan secretly gave Su Jian a thumbs up from behind. Ha ha ha, you two little kids. Okay, since both of you can follow Captain Qin so wholeheartedly, I also believe in your vision, old man, and please Captain, please don't think of me as an old man with old arms and legs. Take me in. Seeing Rui, CBDH, and Union try their best to keep him, Jian smiled and nodded. Then he bowed slightly to Qin Tian and said. At the same time, Qin Tian also received a notification from the will of the planet. Su Jian SS level requests to join, do you agree? Agree. How could Qin Tian refuse such a pie in the sky thing? While choosing to agree in my mind, he also quickly stepped forward to help the aged Su Jian up. With a very warm smile on his face, he said, how can you dislike me? You are willing to join my fleet. I am too happy to be happy. Qin Tian was really happy in his heart. With this one added. When encountering a battle of 1 against 10,000, he would not have to worry about the blood volume of the battleship as before. Increase the HP of battleships by 30%. At the same time, it can restore 30% of the battleship's HP every 10 seconds. This is definitely an extremely powerful recovery skill. Greatly increased his safety factor. And from Yun Yan's words just now, this old man seems to have a high attainment in the field of interstellar battleships. Combined with the identity of the other party's top mechanical maintenance engineer. The head of the engineering department of the Chengxing Empire probably has a lot of technology about interstellar warships in his mind. This is another unimaginably valuable wealth. It's just a lot of money. Hee, that's great, Grandpa Su, now that you join us, we don't have to worry about technology. Now the only thing that affects our ability to successfully build an interstellar empire is the population, and we really have to find a way to do this slowly. Captain, it's time for dinner. Just when they were chatting in full swing. Wen Zheng's voice suddenly sounded from the far side of the sea. Let's go, the meal is ready, let's go to eat first. Qin Tian Chaowen responded with a sound. Then he turned his head and said to Rui and Su Jian. The meal is finally ready, I'm almost starving to death. Grandpa Su, let me tell you, our captain's diet is far from far away, at least among all the captains in the entire world of warships, it is definitely the best. Su Grandpa, you will know it after eating it. In the praise of Union Balabala, the four returned to the living area. There are still tens of meters away. The fragrant rice fragrance and strong barbecue smell wafted over. Su Jian, who has always been calm, couldn't help swallowing hard because of the tempting smell. As for the more than 3,000 crew members who are still in captivity. At this moment, everyone is looking at the purple amethyst rice and the golden roasted meat. All eyes glowed green. Looking straight at it, I didn't even notice the saliva flowing down. If it weren't for Li Yao and dozens of combat crew members with live ammunition, I would stand by their side. Qin Tian is sure. I am afraid that these people will rush up in a swarm just now, and crazily snatch the food. 81%. Chapter 410 All crew members pledge allegiance. See Qin Tian they come over. Yu Dai hurriedly shouted as if seeing a life-saving straw. Captain, we don't have enough tableware and chopsticks, you should quickly find a way to make some. Even if he is used to seeing big wind and waves. After being stared at by more than 3,000 pairs of eyes like hungry wolves for a long time, I can't help but feel my scalp tingling. Heartbroken. And Qin Tian listened. Only then did he understand why Yu Dai and the others hadn't started to serve food. The emotional reason is here. At first he thought it was just waiting for him. He rubbed his temples speechlessly. Qin Tian stepped forward immediately. With a thought, the synthesis panel was opened. Then began to consume wood to produce wooden plates and chopsticks. Yu Dai, Wen Zheng and the others took the tableware without any delay. 2 big shovels of rice and 2 large pieces of barbecue began to make rice quickly. Li Yao organized the crew members to stand in several rows and line up for meals honestly. The crew who received the meal had no time to find a table to eat. He casually found an open space nearby, sat down and devoured a big mouthful. Only chewed. Their eyes widened in an instant. This taste. It was unbelievably delicious. Then, as he ate and ate, the big teardrops dripped into the dinner plate. Their thoughts involuntarily drifted to the time when they were making a living under the hands of the chosen ones of the Lot family. Doing the hardest and most tiring work like livestock every day. Then I ate the rough grilled fish with a little salty taste that didn't change 3 meals a day throughout the year. Even if they are about to vomit, they have to force themselves to eat. Because if you don't eat, you will starve. Then tomorrow it will be the same grilled fish. If you don't want to starve to death, I can only grit my teeth and bite the bullet. As for the beginning of each month, it was almost like a holiday. Because each of them can receive a small mouthful of melon and fruit. Although only a sip. But this is already a rare delicacy for them. But now, eating the delicious, unprecedented purple rice and the delicious barbecue on the dinner plate. For a while they thought they were dreaming. When it is confirmed that all this is true. Not after dreaming. Immediately, a sense of excitement and joy rose in their hearts to escape from the sky and come to the end of all hardships. It was this violent emotional ups and downs that caused most of them to shed tears uncontrollably. Seeing this scene, Qin Tian immediately used divine detective skill to check more than a dozen crew members who were eating. As expected, all of these previous loyalty crew members were below 50. At this moment, the loyalty has directly risen to more than 75. Qin Tian nodded in satisfaction. If the loyalty of these crew members in this wave can all rise above 70. As long as one person takes the lead in taking the oath of allegiance. Then these 3,000 people will definitely be driven to take the oath together. The next step is to see if there are any people who can come here among the more than 3,000 people. For the captured crew members in front of them, Qin Tian was quite jealous. Because among the more than 3,000 people, there are more than 100 crew members with A-level talents and more than 500 crew members with B-level talents. Once all of them are cultivated to the point of die-hard loyalty. Then his first fleet crew is completely formed. Meals for more than 3,000 people. Yu Hai and the others braised rice more than 20 times and roasted more than 30 waves of barbecue. It took more than 4 hours before and after to completely solve it. But the effect is also remarkable. The loyalty of all crew members generally soared to 75, including Su Jian's loyalty to him, which broke through from 70 to 92. The crew who have been at sea for many years are not stupid and sweet. Only captains who are truly powerful and who can treat them as human beings can make them throw their heads in blood, and willingly go to work. Qin Tian had already proved his strength with one enemy 10,000 before. This meal, which is enough to feed more than 3,000 of them, also proves that Qin Tian has a rich family. Asking for flowers. 0. In this situation, if these crew members can no longer see that Qin Tian is a captain worthy of their entrustment for life, then they would have been wasting all these years of wandering around in vain. Ever since, I don't know who took the lead. More than 3,000 people suddenly fell to their knees one after another. Facing Qin Tian's requests, he started talking in a hurry. Captain, please let us follow you in the future. Captain, you are the sun and the moon on that day, we are willing to serve you as Lord forever. Captain, we are not afraid of hardships or tiredness, as long as we are fed and clothed, we are willing to dedicate everything to you. In these noisy oaths, in Qin Tian's mind, the endless, ding-ding-dong-dong, sound from the will of the planet greeted him. Oh, that's all. Qin Tian only needs one meal. He transformed all of the more than 3,500 crew members he had captured into his loyal crew. Eat and drink enough. It was already 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening. Under the arrangement of the crew, Qin Tian followed Rui and the others to a large villa where only senior members of the Lauder family could live. Just entered the courtyard. Qin Tian saw an island monument placed on the ground beside the courtyard. There is also a scroll on the island tablet. Qin Tian can guess without even thinking about it. This island monument is 100% Tianshu Island. Let Rui and Union arrange for Su Jian to find a room to rest. After asking Li Yao to arrange for his subordinates to stand guard at night, Qin Tian walked leisurely to the front of the island monument. Then he squatted down tentatively, and lifted up the island tablet of Tianshu Island with his hands. Although his physique has been strengthened many times, it can even shake objects weighing 1,000 kilograms under full force. But in the face of this island monument, which is only 3 or 4 meters long, even with the strength of breastfeeding, he only slightly raised the height of more than 1 meter. It can be seen how heavy the island monument is. Return the monument to the ground. Qin Tian immediately picked up the scroll above again. Island Monument Transfer Scroll and 81%. Chapter 411. Su Jian's Hidden Ability. Look at the name of the scroll in your hand. Qin Tian used Divine Detective Technique to investigate. Item. Island Monument Transfer Scroll, Special. Quality. Genesis. Efficacy. A magical scroll that can peel off the island monument. Use this scroll to reset the island monument. 3 days after the reset, the island monument can be dug out and the entire island can be stored for transfer. Note. Each scroll only it can be bound to an island to transfer 3 times. See this efficacy profile. Qin Tian couldn't help but have a strong interest in this kind of scroll. Possess this scroll. Wouldn't it be possible to plan the location of several islands of the same force? The islands that were originally a dozen or so days away, or even 20 or 30 days, 50 or 60 days away, can be moved to a reasonable place 2 or 3 days apart. This will not affect the collection and exploration of the chosen ones. It can also form a solid defensive front, and can effectively carry out mutual rescue and 187 aid. It's a pity that each scroll can only be bound to one island for 3 transfers. This limitation can be regarded as a big pit. But no matter what, Tianshu Island was saved. I looked at the time. It was almost 12 o'clock. Zhang Zongjun, who has been busy leading the army to transfer these days, is probably also very tired. Or contact him tomorrow. Think here. Qin Tian also returned to the villa. I found a well-equipped room, lay on the bed and began to rest. Nothing to say all night. Early the next morning, Qin Tian came to the living room after waking up. It was discovered that Rui and Union were sitting and chatting with Su Jian on the sofa in the living room. After seeing Qin Tian come out, the 3 hurriedly got up and said hello together. Although Qin Tian has always been humble and magnanimous to them, very gentle. But subordinates are subordinates. The proper etiquette and respect are definitely indispensable. If a subordinate is unscrupulous because of the good character of the boss, he can't tell the difference between the big and the big. Then this subordinate is either out of his mind, or thinks that his life is too moist, and his life is too long. This is also the idea that they have been instilled in the Chengxing Empire since they were young. What are you talking about? Facing the salute of the 3, Qin Tian smiled and nodded. Then he greeted and led the 3 of them outside. In the end, he ran into Li Yao who was about to come in. Good morning, Captain, breakfast is ready. See Qin Tian. Li Yao hurriedly reported. Qin Tian nodded. He said to Li Yao, Xiao Yao, after dinner, you arrange people to start searching for the materials in these buildings. As long as they are useful, I will pull them all onto the boat. As for this villa, as the member of the Luote family there must be a lot of good things in the high-rise residential area, let Zhengyi and Yan Bin carefully copy them for me. Okay, Captain, leave it to me. Li Yao nodded upon hearing this. Then she went on to say, Captain, I want to take you to a place after dinner, I think you will be very interested in it. Oh, where is it? Qin Tian was a little curious. You will know when the time comes, and it will surprise you. Li Yao said with a mysterious smile. See how mysterious Li Yao said. Qin Tian's curiosity was also aroused. So a group of people came to Yu Haihai's food stall. After a full meal of steaming meat porridge. After Li Yao had a clear division of labor, he arranged for the more than 3,000 ordinary crew members and Zhang Zhengyi to search the dozens of warehouses and villas on the island. She took Qin Tian and Rui around the residential area, and came to an empty building surrounded by barbed wire. Looking at the terminal building in the distance, the tall control tower and the empty and spacious runway in front of you. Qin Tian was stunned. Unexpectedly, there is an airport on the island of the Lot family. No wonder 2 aircraft carriers can dispatch more than 300 fighter jets. Emotional reasons are present here. Look at this huge airport that can hardly be seen at a glance. Qin Tian made a little estimate. Such a large airport can accommodate more than 100 fighter jets. Even if there are 100 more fighter jets, it will not be a problem. It's just that the current Qin Tian can only stare with red eyes. According to the rules of this universe world, as long as Carl Day put this airport drawing once used, then he has no way to recycle it into blueprints. Unless, like Tianshu Island, he directly dug out the island tablet and took the Lot Island away. Otherwise, he may only be able to completely bombard the entire island at that time. The airport was completely destroyed. After all, he couldn't just watch the airport fall into the hands of the enemy. In the future, it will bring him trouble in turn. Captain, how's it going? Isn't it nice? On the side, Li Yao looked at Qin Tian and asked with a sweet smile. Qin Tian smiled wryly when he heard the words, and said, "Not bad, what good? Once the blueprint of this airport is used, we have no way to recycle it, so we can only be greedy. When we leave, we have to let the battleship blow it up." Quote. "Ah, can't we take it away?" Hearing Qin Tian's words, Li Yao's eyes widened in disappointment. She originally wanted to ask her captain to take this airport away and use it on a new island that belongs to them in the future. And with this airport, the row of their islands will definitely be improved several levels. No way, I can't take it away. Qin Tian spread his hands helplessly, completely cutting off Ji Yao's thoughts. He still wants to take the airport away. But the conditions are obviously not allowed. Hey, Captain, isn't it just an airport? It's a big deal. Grandpa Su, it's time for you to show your skills and let the captain and the others open their eyes. And at this moment, Yun Yan spoke suddenly. To Su Jian, it was a compliment of coquettishness and hard work. This made Qin Tian feel at a loss, not knowing why. See here, Rui came to Qin Tian's side and explained in a low voice. Captain, it's like this, Grandpa Su has a very high engineering talent, as long as he goes to a certain building for a tour, and if there are enough materials, Su Grandpa will soon be able to build the building as it is, or build it with excellent renovations according to the memory in his mind. Qin Tian's eyes widened instantly when he heard the words. I didn't expect the old man beside me to have such a powerful 0.0 ability. But why didn't he show this ability when he read the profile of the other party? Think here, he couldn't help asking. Mr. Su still has this ability. I can't tell at all. I wonder why Mr. Su has become the engineering director when he is in maintenance. Rui Wenyan shrugged his shoulders and said, this point is really amazing, not to mention you, Captain. I heard that even many dignitaries in the Chengxing Empire at that time didn't understand why the previous monarch asked a maintenance engineer to be the head of the engineering department. It wasn't until Grandpa Su showed such a trick that those rich and powerful people calmed down and recognized Grandpa Su. Hear what Rui said. Qin Tian looked at Su Jian thoughtfully. Suddenly, he said with a solemn expression, Old Su, I now formally appoint you as the chief engineering director of our Qin Shui fleet, and the construction of this airport will be handed over to you. 82%. Chapter 412 Su Jian possesses SS's level potential. Although Qin Tian had never been a big shot, but the successive victories in the past few months coupled with the calmness accumulated by his third life. At this moment, the momentum suddenly broke out. It really made him reveal a bit of majestic kingly demeanor. And the people in the live broadcast room, after hearing Qin Tian's words, they couldn't help but exploded. Hiss, this is the first time I see God Qin showing such a demeanor. Although he is very handsome, why is my mind full of the Qin Shui fleet that God Qin just mentioned? Support, it's too much. This unexpected wave of dog food almost killed me. Wow, this Yanlong man spoils his wife too much, right? Qin Shui fleet, is this implying him and his wife Mu Ningxie? I'm so envious of Goddess Mu. God Qin is handsome, has a good figure, and is so outstanding after becoming the god's chosen one. When will I meet such a Prince Charming? Hey, stop dreaming upstairs. At least first of all, you have to have a body and appearance comparable to that of Goddess Mu. 21. In the current Zhongzhou Villa area, looking at Qin Tian's majestic and handsome face on the screen, Mu Ningxie couldn't help but lose her mind. Since the last time we met in World of Warships, he was thinking of reuniting with Qin Tian all the time. At this time, it was heard that Qin Tian's fleet was officially named Qin Shui Fleet. She knew that all her past sacrifices were worthwhile. Because she knows, no matter when, no matter where, in this man's heart, she will always occupy the most important position. That's enough. Naturally, these things from the outside world cannot affect everything in World of Warships. At the moment outside the airport, facing Qin Tian, he showed this immature aura. Su Jian did not dare to show the slightest contempt. Instead, he bowed down to accept the order very seriously and said, "Thank you, Captain, the old minister will definitely live up to the captain's entrustment." Very good. See Su Jian's next responsibilities as Minister of Engineering. Qin Tian immediately swung the divine detective technique over. Name: Su Jian. Specialty: maintenance. Talent: SS plus level. Talent skill: super maintenance SS level. During maintenance, increase the blood volume of the battleship on duty by 30%, and restore 30% of the blood volume of the battleship on duty every 10 seconds. Characteristics: hidden. After becoming the head of the engineering department of a faction, you can activate the century-old master ability, have superb construction ability, and can completely imitate any building you have seen, and have an 80% chance to increase the level of a fake building. Grade: when serving as the Minister of Engineering, the building construction time is reduced by 60%. Loyalty: 95. Introduction: Chengxing Empire's top mechanical maintenance engineer, the head of the Empire's engineering department, has mastered a variety of interstellar warship technologies, and has superb maintenance talents and construction capabilities. Qin Tian saw this. There was an uncontrollable look of joy in his eyes. This is really a treasure. Unexpectedly, after arranging the other party in the position of the engineering department, its talent level was directly upgraded from SS level to SS plus level. And even the ability has 2 more characteristics. And now Su Zheng hasn't eaten the king level meat of the leader king crocodile. If you eat a few meals of this high quality king level meat, wouldn't the other party be very likely to become the first SSS level talented crew member in his fleet? Think here. Qin Tian's eyes were almost shining. But he quickly suppressed the excitement. Facing Su Jian, he asked, "Old Su, I'm very curious, you obviously have such a powerful ability. As long as you show your hands a little, the chosen one of the Lot family will give you a very high status, but why do you insist on hiding yourself? Are you willing to suffer that crime?" And Su Jian also categorically expressed his ideas. It's actually very simple. A group of stinky fish and rotten shrimps without any lofty ambitions. They just know how to get by all day long. Even if the veteran is starving to death, he doesn't bother to get involved with those people. Hearing what Su Jian said, Qin Tian was also dumbfounded. Good guy. A group of members of the dignified Lauder family were actually described by the old man as mediocre stinky fish and rotten shrimp. I don't know if Carl will be resurrected from the dead after knowing it. Then jump out and have a duel with this old man. Thumbs up to the other party, Qin Tian said with a smile. There is nothing wrong with Mr. Su's words, then I will leave this airport to you. I believe Mr. Su will not let me down. No problem, but, Su Jian nodded, but Dadao hesitated halfway through speaking. But what? Qin Tian asked. Captain, it's like this. Although the old minister can arrange for these buildings to be built by others, the internal electronic communication equipment and other facilities must not be produced and supplied within a short period of time, so the old minister hopes that some people can be sent to dismantle the equipment in the airport and take it back, so that once the airport is built, the equipment can be put into use after reinstalling. Su Jian shared his suggestion. When Qin Tian heard it, he felt that what the other party said was very reasonable. So he nodded and said to Li Yao, Xiao Yao, take care of things at the airport, everything will be done according to Elder Su's wishes. Yes, Captain. After learning that the airport had a new turnaround, Li Yao was naturally extremely happy. Immediately stood up straight and performed a standard military salute. Said no problem at all. After Qin Tian chatted with a few people, he left 560 directly. He told everyone to go about their business quickly. And he himself came to the Tianshu Island monument in the courtyard of the villa. After taking a picture, open Zhang Zongjun's chat interface and send it to the other party. Beep beep. Not for a while. Zhang Zongjun sent him a message back. Xiao Qin, you are too powerful. You have already told me in detail about your attack on the Lot family island yesterday, which is very good, and let us vent your anger on us. Is this the island monument of Tianshu Island? It's a pity. I don't know if this form can give birth to new islands. Looking at Zhang Zongjun's information, Qin Tian replied. Thank you General Zhang for your compliment. That's right, this is the island tablet of Tianshu Island, will affect anything. Oh, it's so amazing. That's great, I thought we would lose Tianquan Island forever. Zhang Zongjun replied with a sigh of relief when he saw Qin Tian's message. Well, that's why I sent a message to ask General Zhang where the Tianshu Island is going to be placed. It can't be placed at the previous coordinates, right? Qin Tian asked. That can't be done. Zhang Zongjun replied to the message almost instantly. 82%. Chapter 413 Search for supplies and reorganize the combat team. So, Xiao Qin, how far is it from Yaoguang Island where Leng Lai is stationed now? If it is convenient, you can help escort the island tablet of Tianshu Island to Yaoguang Island, where there are Leng Lai and Nangong girls sitting in a town is relatively safer. Okay, then I'll go after I'm done here. See Zhang Zongjun's information. Qin Tian agreed without the slightest hesitation. It happened to be a while since I saw these two. It's also good to catch up on the past at that time. After putting away the island monument transfer scroll on the island monument, Qin Tian found a place nearby and wandered around while opening the trading market, while waiting for the crew to search for supplies. But he soon found out. The speed of transporting supplies is much faster than he imagined. It's not 10:30. All the crew members responsible for transporting the supplies in the warehouse were assigned to the airport to transport various equipment in the terminal building. After Qin Tian saw this scene, he immediately walked to Li Yao's side in surprise. Li Yao, why did it all go to the airport? The materials in the warehouse are not transported anymore. Facing Qin Tian's question, Li Yao said with a wry smile, Captain, everything has been transported. Is everything transported? Qin Tian couldn't believe it when he heard the words, have all the supplies in more than a dozen warehouses been transported? Yes, Captain, I went to check it out, and found that the dozen or so warehouses were indeed emptied. I asked Sun Xiaoyang from the logistics department to make a count. He said that the amount of materials obtained this time was about 3,000. Thousands of units. Li Yao said helplessly. This shouldn't be a dozen warehouses, no matter what, they can produce nearly 100 million units of supplies, right? Qin Tian frowned and muttered to himself. Then he looked at Li Yao and said, Xiao Yao, what about that villa? Have you collected any good things from the villa? Li Yao shook her head and said, let's not talk about good things, it's just that the supplies haven't been searched for 1,000 units. Qin Tian was also speechless upon hearing this. Couldn't help but muttered. A dozen warehouses only got more than 30 million units of supplies, and the villa where the senior members of the Lot family lived didn't even produce a single hair. What the hell am I robbing a fake Lot family? Right, didn't you say that the Lot family made a lot of money selling god-level treasure islands? Hearing Qin Tian's muttering, Li Yao guessed and said, Captain, maybe that guy Carl distributed all the supplies to those more important crew members, letting them use them for battle. Huh, Xiao Yao, what do you mean? Qin Tian frowned. Captain, I came over to supervise the transportation here for a while before, and then I vaguely heard that they seemed to say that Carl really spent his money, and the materials directly subsidized in more than a dozen warehouses were almost empty. Including that villa, according to Zhang Zhengyi's report. Although all the rooms in the villa look neat and orderly, they are low-key and luxurious. But Zhang Zhengyi and Yan Bin led the people to turn the entire villa upside down, and they didn't find any items and supplies useful to the warships and gods chosen from inside. So they are very suspicious that Carl may have put all the good things on his own battleship. Oh, by the way, Captain, there is another news. Among the materials we harvested this time, there are very few metal sheets. According to Sun Xiaoyang, it is probably less than 3 million units. Quote. Gone. Hearing Li Yao's report, Qin Tian couldn't help rubbing his temples vigorously with his fingers. A swear word burst out in my heart. This Carl is really a dog. Knowing that it is very likely that you will not win this battle. So he used this method to increase the combat time of the fleets under his command. It's no wonder that the opponent's fleet can fight him for 4 or 5 hours for so long and continuously fire anti-ship missiles. Emotional reasons arise here, according to Qin Tian's own estimate. This fight down, it is conservatively estimated that his high-quality sheet metal materials will consume 2 to 3 million units. Converted to low-quality metal sheets, it would cost around 10 million yuan. And less than 3 million low-quality metal pieces were harvested. This is simply blood loss. Shook his head. Qin Tian reluctantly accepted this reality. Anyway, finally, the Lot family was killed. Even if he lost several million units of metal pieces, it was still worth it in Qin Tian's opinion. Worked until 11:30 at noon. Finally, all the materials in the airport were transported to Phoenix and another aircraft carrier. And according to Su Jian, who came back, he already had a plan in his mind that could be improved. When rebuilding, the new airport is definitely more advanced than this one. This naturally made Qin Tian very excited. Seeing that it was time for lunch, Qin Tian led a group of people to the battleship and pulled dozens of bags of amethyst rice. Let everyone have a full lunch on the island. Qin Tian began to ask Li Yao to assist him in assigning the crew to board the ship. After this battle, the warships in Qin Tian's hands now include 4 aircraft carriers, 1 battleship, and 6 cruisers. Although it is not such a huge fleet, but the warships in his fleet are all high-level warships. The weakest are all medium cruisers. In this situation, those who were in charge of driving in the early stage must have been the crew who were rescued with Yun Yan and the others. After this period of getting along with probation, their loyalty value has Wang's Zhao have all reached the level of loyalty of over 100. So letting them drive those warships, Qin Tian was relatively relieved. In addition to driving the battleship, of course there is also the issue of guarding the combat crew. But this time Qin Tian didn't insist on continuing to arrange the previous crew members. Instead, let Li Yao select more than 20 crew members from the more than 3,000 crew members. Then integrate them into the battle squads of the old crew. In Qin Tian's words, that's how it can give the more than 3,000 new crew members a sense of confidence. At least someone they are familiar with can enter the management on this fleet. Although it is only the most common combat group, that's also better than not involving them at all. It seems that they must be guarded against their strength everywhere. But Li Yao is relatively proficient in the process of forming a combat team. So Qin Tian naturally left everything to her. 82%. Chapter 414 Departure to Shake Island, Food Crisis. 11 battleships. In the end, Nemesis was equipped with 1,000, and the remaining 10 ships were divided into more than 200 people each. Following Qin Tian's order, the fleet carried the Tianshu Island monument and slowly left the port of the Lot Family Island, heading towards the Yaoguang Island, which is a distance of 12 days. After leaving the port, Qin Tian first opened Zhang Zongjun's private chat interface. Send a message. General Zhang, I'm starting to set off. Should I contact you or Brother Leng? Zhang Zongjun quickly replied to the message. Contact that boy Leng Lai. I am driving the fleet to the God-level Treasure Island, which is a bit far away from that sea area. Qin Tian couldn't help being stunned when he saw Zhang Zongjun's message. General Zhang, you went directly to the God-level Treasure Island with the fleet? He asked, a little surprised. Yes, what I think is that instead of wasting time and building materials on those ordinary islands, it is better to come directly to the God-level Treasure Island to develop the island in one step and recruit troops. It just so happens that you have also solved the most offensive awareness for the Lot family. All countries that want to come to the Eurasian Federation will stop for a while. 497. Zhang Zongjun expressed his thoughts. I saw the message sent by Zhang Zongjun. Qin Tian thought it was indeed the case. It seems that after I sent the island tablet of Tianshu Island there, I have to hurry up and make a dozen of those copies. After accumulating enough equipment and blueprints, hurry back to the God-level Treasure Island to develop. Now I have solved the Lot family, one of the head families of those big capitalist families. Presumably it was just as Zhang Zongjun said. Those big capitalist families in the Eurasian Federation should restrain themselves and stop for a while. During this period, it is a good time for him to recuperate and rapidly expand his fleet power. Think here. He sent a message to the other party. General Zhang is right. It seems that I have to return to the God-level Treasure Island to expand my fleet power after I finish my work. Ha ha ha. Indeed, your current battleship is strong enough, but the fleet is too small. Hurry up and get a shipyard to manufacture thousands of warships, so that your shortcomings will be gone. If your battleship blueprint, if the quantity is not enough, you can ask. If there is too much, but more than 1,000 sheets can still be provided. CBDA. Zhang Zongjun said in a message. Understood. If I need it at that time, I will not be polite. Okay, then you kids should contact Leng Lai. We will talk about it when there is something to do. The correspondence with Zhang Zongjun ended. Qin Tian immediately launched a private chat interface. Send a message to the other party. Brother Leng, I have already set off from the island of the Lot family, so it will take about 12 days to arrive at your place. Leng Lai quickly sent him back a message. Okay, be careful on the road, kid. I heard about your attack on the Lot family. I have to say that you two are really better than the other. You killed Carl and the others in World of Warships. In this world, your wife directly led the 50,000 Imperial Guards to the Lighthouse Empire to destroy the Lot family's manor, and then broke through the entrance of the headquarters of the Dark World, rushed into it and killed a wave of revenge. Now you outside almost everyone knows your wife's name, and everyone knows it. Qin Tian was taken aback when he saw the news. Immediately, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. It seems that the assassination of the Dark World has really changed Mu Ningshui's character. If placed before, my wife will never take the initiative to attack. But the attack of the Dark World killer involved their daughter Qin Xiaoxiao. Women are inherently weak, but mothers are strong. What the Lot family did with the Dark World obviously touched Mu Ningshui's backlash. For Qin Tian, it's a good transition, nothing wrong with it. If it is an era of peace, a character that is indifferent to the world is naturally the most suitable. Because of peace of mind. But now is a turbulent era of interstellar civilization invasion. Having enough strength naturally needs to be displayed. You don't show it, then how to deter Xiaoxiao? So Qin Tian is very satisfied with his wife's change. Very good, that's all we need to do. If we don't teach those big capitalists a lesson, they think they can continue to ride on our heads and do their best. That's all. After greeting Leng Lai, Qin Tian's fleet of a total of 11 warships began to head towards Shaking Island with full power. Have to say, the consumption of more than 3,000 mouths is really different from the consumption of 1 or 200 mouths. The amethyst rice that had been stored in several warehouses had been reduced by more than half in just a few days. Looking at the food reserves in the warehouse, which are dropping by thousands of caddies every day, even Qin Tian couldn't help but murmur in his heart. In this situation, the 2 grain planting cabins are obviously not enough in front of more than 3,700 people. It seems that we must quickly find a way to get a few more large-scale planting ecological cabins. Fortunately, it was the 3rd day after leaving the island of the Lot family. Then the mythical amethyst dragon tooth rice in the Genesis level large-scale planting ecological cabin is ripe. After Yu Dai took Wen Zheng and the others to harvest. More than 6,000 caddies of amethyst longya rice were harvested. Then Qin Tian said nothing. So Yu Dai replanted the previously harvested epic amethyst rice. Thinking of the rhetoric I told Yu Dai at that time that only mythical-grade amethyst longya rice would be planted on the boat in the future. Qin Tian felt that his face was being crackled by himself. No way. In the choice between starving to death and not worrying about eating and drinking, Qin Tian chose the latter from the bottom of his heart. Because the purple crystal rice that can harvest tens of thousands of caddies a week is compared to the mythical-grade purple crystal dragon tooth rice that can only harvest more than 6,000 caddies a week. Obviously, the amethyst rice with a yield of 10,000 jin per mu is more suitable for the current situation. As for drinking water, Qin Tian didn't need to worry about anything. With 2 Genesis-level water purifiers, and he strengthened the water purifiers on each battleship by a wave. Currently in drinking water, they are more than adequate. At least 7 or 8 bottles of drinking water can be distributed to each crew member on average every day. It is the air conditioner drawing that is the problem. Except that his Nemesis and Phoenix and the battleship and 2 cruisers have air conditioners. None of the other ships were available. This made Qin Tian a little worried. After all, the current extreme climate is too frequent and complex. He has asked many times in the chat channel these days. But no one is willing to trade with him. 82%. Chapter 415 Recover the 7 Islands, Free Drawings. Neither Zhang Zongjun nor the Moore family had blueprints for air conditioners. Zhang Zongjun told him, when the polar night and the rainstorm continued. In order to appease the anxiety of the soldiers under him, he distributed the blueprints of the air conditioner and other drawings needed for life as rewards. Now he has no air conditioner drawings in his hand. At the same time, the Moore family is similar. They have already used drawings such as air conditioners by their relatives and friends, or rewarded others. But even without air conditioning, the crew members that Qin Tian took over were already very satisfied with their current situation. Call it gratitude, not an exaggeration. According to the accounts of those new crew members, the life they lived under the hands of the chosen ones of the Lot family was simply not called life. Whether the weather is hot or cold, you have to fight with your body. Not to mention no extra clothes, drinking water is also limited. Usually there are only 2 to 3 bottles of water per day, and there will be no more. And the 3 meals a day are the kind of grilled black, or grilled half-cooked crude grilled fish. Even the taste is just a little salty with sea salt. While not getting enough to eat and drink, I have to endure the weakness of my body and do the hard and tiring work all day long. For the current life that eats well, wears well, and drinks enough water every day. They all feel that they are already living in paradise. There is no luxury to live in an environment with air conditioning that is warm in winter and cool in summer. Besides, they drank broth made from king-grade meat every day for the past few days. Although the strength of the body is not as strong as that of Yao Lang and the old crew who have been strengthened 5 or 6 times. But it has also reached the level of strengthening 2 or 3 times. It has a certain resistance to heat and cold. Now that these crew members have said so, and he really can't buy the blueprint of the air conditioner now. So Qin Tian could only temporarily put aside the matter of the air conditioner. He turned his attention to the blueprint of the planting cabin. He looked at the trading market before. There is a advanced large-scale planting ecological cabin blueprint inside. But the other party is crazy about money. Unexpectedly, the price is 500,000 yuan for inferior metal sheet materials. Although for the current Qin Tian, 500,000 low-quality metal sheet materials are nothing. But he wasn't overwhelmed with supplies, so naturally he wouldn't be the one to be taken advantage of. In the previous life, the normal price of rare blueprints like advanced large planting ecological cabin was between 50,000 and 90,000 low-quality metal pieces. Even though the number of material barrels in this life has skyrocketed because of him, the value of the material has somewhat depreciated. But it was one within 130,000 at the top. 500,000 low-quality metal pieces. At least one can buy a legendary large-scale planting ecological cabin blueprint. Ever since, Qin Tian directly opened the World Chat channel. Released its acquisition information. Qin Tian at everyone. Purchase 3 to 5 drawings of epic level large-scale planting ecological cabins or blueprints of legendary level large-scale planting ecological cabins. The price is reasonable, first come first served. As soon as his news came out, immediately sparked heated discussions on the World Chat channel. I'm going, why does Qin God want to plant so many ecological cabins all of a sudden? And it has to be epic and legendary. Is this explosive? Stupid, did you forget that God Qin smashed the Lot civilization a few days ago? This is probably because the crew of the chosen ones of the Lot family obediently chose to surrender when they saw God Qin's mighty power. It makes sense, but I saw that there is a blueprint of an advanced large-scale planting ecological cabin in the trading market. Why doesn't Qin Tian buy the blueprint in the trading market? Damn, you upstairs are not the one who hangs the blueprint of the high-end large-scale planting ecological cabin, are you? The price of 500,000 low-quality metal sheets, you will only buy it unless your brain is pumped. 1. Of course I'm not, if I'm lucky enough to get that blueprint. Gongji Shoksan at Qin Tian. Qin Tian, I have a blueprint of a legendary large-scale planting ecological cabin here. As long as you are willing to personally agree to give us your Yuang Island to our cherry blossoms, I will trade this blueprint to you. I saw this message from Gongyoshi Hidenobu. Asking for flowers. Whether it's the audience of Yanlong Empire in the live broadcast room or the chosen ones in World of Warships, all of them will be blown away at this moment. Damn it, little devil, you guys think so beautifully, none of you should try to take the Big Dipper Islands of our Yanlong Empire for your own. That's right, the Big Dipper 7 Islands are the inseparable territory of our Yanlong Empire, and they are only temporarily occupied by you now. How dare you ask God Qin to give you legal rights? It's just a dream. One will take you little devils. Qin Shen, you must not agree. I bought a watch last year. Brothers, whoever has the blueprint of the planting ecological cabin in your hand, please take it out and support Qin Shen first. Qin will definitely give everyone a satisfactory price. Under the prayers and requests of a group of people. There were really 3 people who stood up and were willing to trade with Qin Tian. Dai Weiliang at Qin Tian. God Qin, I have a drawing of an epic large-scale planting ecological cabin here, and I am willing to trade it to you, just please don't agree to the little devil's request. Meng Xiao at Qin Tian. God Qin, here I have a blueprint of a legendary large-scale planting ecological cabin. As long as you promise me, God Qin, you can recover all the North 7 Islands of our Yanlong Empire in the future. The blueprint will be given to God Qin for nothing. Ningqing at Qin Tian. God Qin, I also have a blueprint of an epic large-scale planting ecological cabin here. I am the same as Meng Xiao upstairs. As long as God Qin, you can promise us to recover our Beidou 7 Islands after you draw it out. I don't need money for this blueprint, I'll give it to you for free. Look at the information of these 3 people. While Qin Tian was feeling emotional in his heart, he also replied directly to them. Qin Tian at Dai Wei Liang, Meng Xiao, Ning Qing. Don't worry, don't forget that I am also a senior general of our Yanlong Empire. The Big Dipper 7 Islands are the inalienable territory of the Yanlong Empire in World of Warships. They are related to the hunger, food and health of hundreds of millions of compatriots in our empire. Naturally, I will not let them be in the hands of those foreign empires. You don't need them said, I will also do it in the future. As for the blueprint, since it is traded, it is natural to buy and sell, so what's the matter if you give it to me? 82%. Chapter 416 Upgrade Large Aerospace Aircraft Carrier. Send the message to the three of them. After Qin Tian thought about it. Once again, at Ji Ren sent a message. Qin Tian at Dai Wei Liang Ideographic, Meng Xiao Ideographic, Ning Qing. How about it? Your drawings, like the drawings of epic large-scale planting ecological cabins, I bought them with 250,000 low-quality metal pieces and 200 caddies of amethyst rice. As for the legendary large-scale planting, the blueprint of the ecological cabin, I traded 450,000 inferior metal sheets with 300 caddies of amethyst rice. Seeing that Qin Tian actually wanted to trade the amethyst rice, the three people were overjoyed immediately. Agreed without hesitation. To know now, in the World Chat channel and the Country Chat channel. I don't know how many people begged Qin Tian to sell some amethyst rice every day. But Qin Tian didn't pay any attention to these people at all. He didn't even show his face all day long. Now, 567, is willing to trade it to them. This is really Fan Jinjiangju, crazy about joy. Although it is only 3 or 200 caddies. But it is enough for them to eat for 3 or 4 months. Such a long time. It is estimated that their physical fitness can be enhanced by a level. And at this moment, a message Meng Xiao sent to Qin Tian attracted everyone's attention. Meng Xiao at Qin Tian. Qin God, let's discuss it. I don't need supplies. Can you help me convert the 450,000 low-quality metals into amethyst rice? Looking at the other party's message, Qin Tian didn't directly refuse either. Qin Tian at Meng Xiao. Sorry, I have taken in a lot of crew members this time. Recently, there is a shortage of food and food. If you want it, I will remember it. After 2 weeks, the loan crisis has subsided, and I contact you again to give you a cheaper deal. Do you think it will work? Qin Tian still admires and respects this patriotic candidate who is willing to give him the legendary large-scale planting ecological cabin blueprint for free. After thinking about it, he told him his thoughts. When Meng Xiao heard it, there would be no reason to disagree. Immediately reply to the message. Meng Xiao at Qin Tian. Of course, no problem, God Qin, then I'll wait for good news from you, God Qin. To Qin Tian's credit, Meng Xiao still had some confidence. Communication is over. Qin Tian quickly traded all 3 blueprints of the planting ecological cabin according to the price he quoted. However, he was not in a hurry to use these 3 blueprints. Instead, with a thought, he opened the attribute panel of Nemesis. Now he has enough supplies in his hands. He can completely upgrade his small aerospace aircraft carrier to a large aerospace aircraft carrier and then build these planting ecological cabins. At that point, he'll be able to convert the 3 larger cabins into a grow room. Then asked Yu Dai to divide the 3 planting rooms into 2 to plant amethyst rice. Take out a room dedicated to planting mythical amethyst dragon tooth rice. In this way, all problems can be easily solved. Look at the advanced behind the advanced option on the Battleship property panel. With a thought, Qin Tian made the choice without hesitation. May I ask if the captain consumes 2.3 million high-quality wood, 2.6 million high-quality plastics, 1.5 million high-quality nails, and 1.8 million oak and metal sheets for small aerospace vehicles? Carrying out advancement. Yes, Qin Tian nodded without any waves in his heart. With his consent, the materials in the warehouse disappeared. Soon the dazzling golden light enveloped the entire battleship. See this scene. Everyone in the studio was the same as Qin Tian. It's completely numb. Water Falca, it's really hard to understand. The further back we other chosen are, the more difficult it is to improve the battleship level, but this Qin Tian, I really don't know how to describe it at all. Yeah, I see that the opponent's battleship upgrade is already a little immune. Duke and Goddess Cecily are still working hard on the large aircraft carrier to accumulate supplies to break through the air carrier. It turns out that Qin Tian is fine. With him with the materials in hand, I estimate that today I can upgrade to a large aerospace aircraft carrier. I don't know what Cecily will do then. Question mark closing square bracket. Hey, brothers, what do you think will happen if Goddess Cecily and this Qin Tian make up a pair? Fake. Bastard. What are you talking about? This Qin Tian is a man with a wife. Do you want our Goddess Cecily to be the third party? Shut up, you rubbish. How dare you speak so badly about me, Goddess Cecily? If you have the ability, reveal the address, and I will drive to your house tomorrow to give you some peanuts. 1. Oh, Xie, you short-sighted and short-sighted guys, do you know what it means to join forces? Although Qin Tian has a wife, his wife can only help him with some things in this world. There is nothing I can do to help. But our Goddess Cecily is different. Once the two parties are bound by emotion, they are definitely the best candidates to help each other in World of Warships. As for extramarital affairs, the whole world is now encouraging childbearing. With the rapid recovery of the population, even polygamy and even polyandry have been released. Do you think this is a problem? The chat channel in the live broadcast room became a mess because of this matter. Mu Ningxie, who has been paying attention to these remarks, fell into deep thought when she saw the last paragraph. It is true that he definitely does not want to share his man with other women. But World of Warships will soon usher in the invasion of the Zarians. Qin Tian's side really needs some trustworthy and strong helpers to help him. For a moment, Mu Ningxui's heart began to fight against heaven and man. Qin Tian in World of Warships naturally didn't know what his wife was thinking at the moment. Until dinner time in the evening, the golden light dissipated. Nemesis has been upgraded to a medium-sized aerospace carrier. But Qin Tian was not satisfied. After dinner, 5.9. After it's time to sleep, Qin Tian once again carried out advancement on the battleship. May I ask if the captain consumes 3.1 million high-quality wood, 3.8 million high-quality plastics, 2.8 million high-quality nails, and 2.6 million high-quality metal sheets to advance the medium-sized aerospace aircraft carrier? Yes. Following Qin Tian nodded. The entire battleship was once again shrouded in golden light. But Qin Tian doesn't care about these anymore. I closed my eyes and fell asleep peacefully. Nothing to say all night. Woke up early the next morning. Qin Tian, who didn't have time to wash up, first glanced at the battleship's attributes. See, Nemesis, after it has indeed been upgraded to a large aerospace aircraft carrier. With 3 blueprints in his hand, he immediately came to the restaurant, and found Yu Dai, who was asking several people to prepare the ingredients. 83%. Chapter 417 T1 Star Frigate, Shortage of Crystal Mines. Captain. He saw Qin Tian coming to the kitchen early in the morning. Yu Dai and the others dare not neglect. Hastily stood up straight and said hello to Qin Tian. Qin Tian nodded his head without any fuss. He greeted Yu Dai and said, "Old Yu, hand over the work in your hands to others first, and follow me." Yes, Captain. Hearing that Qin Tian was in such a hurry, Yu Dai didn't dare to delay in the slightest. After nodding, he explained the matter to the people behind him. After making sure there is no problem, only then did he come to Qin Tian. Looking at his own captain, he asked curiously, "Captain, is there something urgent in such a hurry?" Qin Tian nodded, shook the 3 blueprints in his hand and said, "I'm going to expand 3 more top-level planting ecological cabins for farming. Old Yu, do you know which cabins of our battleship are bigger? Now take me there. Expand 3 top-level planting rooms." After hearing Qin Tian's words, look at the blueprint in Qin Tian's hand. Yu Dai's face suddenly revealed a look of surprise. He is also worrying about food these days. The main reason is that the steps taken by the captain this time are a bit too big. More than 3,500 mouths. It exceeded the tolerance range of the 2 planting rooms in one fell swoop. If it weren't for amethyst rice, there was still a wave of inventory before. Even if the more than 3,700 people in their fleet killed all the livestock raised in the farm, it probably wouldn't be enough to eat. And now the 3 planting cabin blueprints in the hands of the captain are just in time, and it's just in time. Thinking that those granaries would be filled with amethyst rice in a short time, Yu Dai immediately said to Qin Tian full of enthusiasm, "Captain, I can't find the cabin area right now. We have to call the old horse. He is better than me. My task is to farm. This is the real job. My specialty." Hear what Yu Hai said. Only then did Qin Tian remember this. I told him before Yu Hai that now I am busy cooking every day, and I don't have time to patrol the cabin of the battleship. So Qin Tian said to him, "Then you go and call the old horse." Okay, long. With a promise, Yu Hai then left quickly. I don't know where to find someone. Qin Tian, who was bored, suddenly remembered that he didn't take a closer look at the attributes of the upgraded battleship. He was a little curious about what would be the breakthrough of a large aerospace aircraft carrier. What supplies are needed? Think here. He had a thought. Directly use divine detective technique to open the attribute panel of the battleship. Name: Nemesis Large Attack Aircraft Carrier. Load capacity: 153,750 tons. Displacement: 273,900 tons. Air 1360 x 65 x 42. Flight deck M1250 x 58. Carrier aircraft: 29/220. Health volume: 683,800. 148618154890. 50. 40,000. Strengthened fire control system. Power system: UQD 3100 gas turbine x 4. Flight drive: jet power. Speed: 20 plus 5 knots. Weapon system: Genesis class triple mounted Mk 406mm main naval gun X3. Genesis class Mk 73-203mm naval gun colorful X1. Mythical class Y1130 near anti-aircraft guns X20. Mythical class 52 122mm rocket launcher red x2. Myth class Y15 anti-ship missile. Genesis class Y21 anti-ship missile. Carrier aircraft: Genesis class J-31 stealth fighter X1. Genesis class F-35 vertical takeoff and landing stealth fighter. Legendary class Y-35 fighter X2. Genesis class 5th generation Raider unmanned fighter X20. Genesis class fighter world class 5th generation Manticore unmanned fighter x5. Fire control radar orange. Strengthen the missile device. Enhance the radar system. Features: super aerospace aircraft carrier with super high blood volume, dual flight decks and battleship firepower, 20% increase in flight speed when taking off, and 50% increase in stability of fighters after takeoff and landing. Introduction. Do you think she is an aircraft carrier? No, she is a battleship. Do you think she is a battleship? Please take a look at the aerospace aircraft carrier that can fly around the world with two-winged carrier-based aircraft. In short, this is a large aerospace base that can float in the sky. Ordinary advanced level: 18.5 million low-quality wood, 21.8 million low-quality plastics, 15.2 million low-quality nails, 16.5 million low-quality metal sheets, 50 low-quality crystals 10,000. It can be advanced into a small T1 interstellar frigate ordinary. High-quality goods advanced: ordinary wood 11.2 million, ordinary plastic 13.5 million, ordinary nails 11.8 million, ordinary metal sheet 12.6 million, ordinary crystal ore 41, can be advanced into a small 1-star frigate excellent. Advanced 9.2 million high-quality wood, 11.8 million high-quality plastics, 7.6 million high-quality nails, 8.3 million high-quality metal sheets, 200,000 high-quality crystals, can be advanced into small T1 interstellar frigate extreme. Hiss. Tut tut. After looking at the amount of materials needed for advancement, Qin Tian couldn't help sucking his teeth hard. The price of this breakthrough is really outrageous. If this breaks through, I am afraid that his billionaire will shrink into a multi-millionaire directly. But the T1 star frigate is really delicious. At that time, he should be able to break out of the atmosphere and see the galaxy outside. And now the big question is, even if he has enough supplies in his hand, it's useless. It is the same as Genesis-class Thunder laser air defense launcher. There is no 770 material such as crystal ore. He could only stare helplessly. According to his guess, in this case, most likely we can only wait for the fleet of Tsar civilization to come in. Destroying the warships that search for them should have a high probability of obtaining this crystal ore. Otherwise, it is impossible for the rules of the universe to set the number of crystal ore breakthroughs so high. Captain. But before Qin Tian thought about it, Yu Dai hurried back with Ma Yongganian. Seeing Qin Tian, Ma Yongganian hastily greeted him respectfully. Well, old horse, Lao Yu has told you everything, right? Returning to his senses, Qin Tian nodded and asked. I said so, Captain. Ma Yongganian quickly replied. At the other end of the corridor where watermelons and grapes are planted, there is a cabin with an area of more than 300 square meters. The rest of the larger cabins are gone, and they are all on the lower floor. Hear Ma Yongganian's words. Qin Tian frowned and asked. Old Ma, where are the big cabins below? We have 2 in this corridor, and 2 in that corridor. Facing Qin Tian's inquiry, Ma Yongnian answered without hesitation. It can be seen that a lot of effort has been made to check it carefully. But Qin Tian shook his head helplessly after hearing this, and said, then let's get one more room above, and 2 rooms below, then it will save you having to walk a whole corridor. Finished. Qin Tian took the lead and walked towards the cabin of Watermelon Grape. 83%. Chapter 418. 95% of the mineral planets in the galaxy have been hollowed out. The 3 of them came to the planting cabin where grapes and watermelons were grown. Qin Tian went in to see the growth of the next 2 kinds of fruits. I saw emerald green watermelons bigger than a human head lined up neatly in the field. Although very dense, but the growth is better than expected. Look at that amount. At least 7 or 800, 8 or 900. After watching the watermelon, look at the long bunches of oval purple grapes on the shelf. Crystal clear and full of particles. Just looking at it gives people a feeling of being very sweet and watery, with an excellent taste. And look at it. It is estimated that there will be another 3 to 5 days. These watermelons and grapes are about to ripen. Qin Tian originally wanted his wife and daughter to be the first tasters of this batch of fresh fruits. But now it seems that it is obviously impossible. Helplessly shook his head. Qin Tian then led Yu Dai and Ma Yongnian to another cabin more than 200 meters away. Go in and turn on the light. I saw that this was indeed a cabin with an area of more than 400 square meters. This area can be said to fully meet Qin Tian's expectations. So Qin Tian did not hesitate to take out an epic-level planting ecological cabin blueprint. With a thought, I chose Advanced. Building a Genesis-level large-scale planting ecological cabin needs to consume 70,000 high-quality wood, 30,000 high-quality metal sheets, and 50,000 high-quality plastics. Will the captain build it? Put up. As usual, material consumption is complete. Soon a colorful creation-level large planting ecological cabin appeared in front of the 3 of them. Next, Qin Tian followed Yu Dai and followed Ma Yongnian to the corridor on the lower floor. Under the leadership of Ma Yongnian, Qin Tian transformed the other 2 cabins into a first-class planting ecological cabin. After finishing these, he said to Yu Dai, Old Yu, among the 3 creation-level planting ecological cabins, you plant 2 of them into amethyst rice, and you plant the last one into amethyst dragon tooth rice. Qin Tian Crystal Longya Rice, never forget it. That is the magic rice that can prolong life if eaten regularly. He must have left a lot for his wife and daughter. And wait for the amount in hand to hoard more. At that time, it is estimated that hundreds of millions of materials can be earned just by selling a batch of amethyst dragon tooth rice. No way. The materials needed in the future are getting more and more abnormal. See the breakthrough details in the Battleship Properties panel. Wait until he breaks through into AT-1 level interstellar frigate. After repelling the invasion of the Zerere people. If you want to increase the level of the battleship, you will have to travel in the universe. At that time, I didn't know if the chat channel and the trading market could still be used normally. Because there was an extra crystal ore in the subsequent upgrade materials. Obviously, this thing can only be collected from those mineral planets in the universe. Suddenly, Qin Tian's eyes lit up. The Chengxing Empire was an advanced civilization that looked down upon the Yangyuan galaxy in the last era. He should have a lot of information on mineral planets in his hands. It's time to ask. Maybe you can quickly get through the initial period of weakness. After all, Rui told him that there are 3 levels of starships, T1, T2, and T3 when Rui gave him knowledge about starships. Don't look at his current aerospace aircraft carrier, which is already invincible in the world of warships. When the time comes to upgrade to AT-1 interstellar frigate, it's even more casual to beat other chosen ones. But in the face of those intermediate and advanced civilizations in the universe that have achieved interstellar travel and interstellar colonization, his T-1 interstellar frigate is probably just an ordinary small raft in the eyes of others. At that time, just get a T-1 level destroyer or cruiser and you can handle him casually. So it is not an exaggeration to call that time a period of weakness. Let's not go too far. It is estimated that the Zerere civilization that is about to invade will be able to dispatch T2 level starships. Although Ray didn't say it clearly. But he also hinted that the Zerere civilization may have obtained the scientific and technological knowledge of the Chengxing Empire. Once the other party has mastered these technological knowledge, then the technological strength will rise a lot. What is a big chunk? In Qin Tian's view, break through the technology of the T1 starship into the T2 level. That's not a huge improvement. Think here. The sense of crisis in Qin Tian's heart suddenly exploded. Complete the transformation of 3 cabins. Qin Tian is not in a hurry anymore. The next thing is Yu Dai's life. He only needs to be responsible for the acceptance of the results. After saying hello, Qin Tian returned to his rest cabin to wash and brush his teeth. Yu Dai took Ma Yongganian back to the restaurant to make breakfast. It was past 8 o'clock in the morning. After washing up, Qin Tian came to the restaurant. Go to the window after finishing the meal. He looked around. Then he took a step towards the table of Rui, Yunyan, Weiyu and Su Jian. Saw him coming. Several people hurriedly stopped eating. Chi-Chi stood up and greeted respectfully. Sit down to eat. I just have some questions I want to ask you. Quote. Qin Tian put his dinner plate on an empty seat, and beckoned several people to sit down. Captain, what's the matter? Yun Yan asked curiously. That's right. Qin Tian swallowed the rice porridge in his mouth, looked at several people and said, our battleship has been upgraded to a large aerospace aircraft carrier. If we want to break through to AT-1 level star frigate, we need 200,000 units of high-quality crystal ore. As you said, as the overlord civilization of the Yuanyang Empire, the Chengxing Empire has the coordinates of many mineral planets, right? Hear Qin Tian's words. After thinking for a while, Rui said, that's true. As far as I know, there are more than 500 mineral planets in our home, but one era Li Chenjiao Yuan has passed, and I don't know that those mineral planets are still there today. Existence does not exist. Hear Rui's words. Qin Tian couldn't help but secretly dumbfounded. Obediently, more than 500 mineral planets. It seems that the saying, the nobles are the biggest capitalists, is indeed true. Hundreds of mineral planets. It doesn't take a second thought to guess how much profit these mineral planets can bring. Captain, 95% of the mineral planets in the Yangyuan galaxy have almost been exhausted. But at this moment, Su Jian suddenly said, after the defeat of the Empire's last main fleet, the contact and support between the planets were completely cut off, and the Sauron civilization even took 90% of the Empire's mineral resources. The planets were allocated to the 3 cosmic civilizations of Zur, Novi, and Ryan for excavation. In just a few years, tens of millions of mineral planets were dug into dead stars, and the growth of mineral veins could no longer be resumed. Quote. 83%. Chapter 419 The Imperial Treasure in the Sea of Death. Hearing what Su Jian said, Qin Tian frowned immediately. Although he thought that the mineral planet might be very scarce, he never thought that it would be so pitted. 95% of the mineral planets in the entire galaxy have been hollowed out. Then after he entered the starry sky, wouldn't his idea of mining and developing near the blue star be cut in half? Sailing in the distance of hundreds of thousands of light years in the universe. God knows that his divine detective technique plane map with a detection distance of only 30 nautical miles needs to detect the year of the ox and the moon to encounter the mineral planet with a 5% chance. Don't say Qin Tian is speechless at this moment. Even the viewers in the live broadcast room were fuming with anger. I knocked on the horse. Why is it the twin Sauron civilization again? Does our human civilization have a feud with this twin Sauron civilization? Otherwise, why is the twin Sauron civilization so ruthless? The stance of not giving up after being wiped out. Fact, doesn't this mean that if our chosen ones start to step into the starry sky, will it be almost difficult for them to find crystal mines near the planet? Damn it. If all the chosen ones are forced to leave Blue Star, then who else will be able to protect our world of warships? Yeah, all the powerful ones have left 627. Just keep some small fish and shrimps. If we encounter a powerful civilization like the Zerere people again, will we suffer together in this world? On the table, Su Jian saw that Qin Tian was clearly troubled by his words. Su Jian said calmly, Captain, although the situation is indeed a bit grim, there is no unparalleled road. I remember that the Empire's treasury had some materials in stock before. Hear what Su Jian said. Qin Tian's eyes lit up first. But then he said dimly, Old Su, what's the difference between whether you said this or not? The Chengxing Empire has sunk into the bottom of the sea for an era. We have no way to go to the bottom of the sea to salvage. You don't need to go to sea, Captain. I know that the will of the planet has turned most of the ruins of the Chengxing Empire into a terrible dungeon called Sea of Death. The captain only needs to go there, and I have a way to help the captain found the treasury of the Chengxing Empire. Su Jian said solemnly, and what he said immediately excited Qin Tian completely. Old Su, what do you mean? The treasury of the Chengxing Empire did not sink to the bottom of the sea. but was sealed together in the copy of Sea of Death by the will of the planet. Yes, Captain. Su Jian nodded with great certainty. Okay, after the Tianshu Island monument is delivered, we will immediately set sail for the instance of Sea of Death. Qin Tian said with a beam of joy in his eyes. Then follow. He seemed to have thought of something, and his face suddenly became a little heavy. And in the live broadcast room, countless Yanlong Empire gods chosen are completely fried. I knock. God Qin is careless. How can such a secret be revealed during the live broadcast? Yeah, it's over now. There are so many foreign devils in the live broadcast room, this secret will definitely not be kept. There should be no need to worry. The horror of the Sea of Death is obvious to all. Unless the extremely powerful God's Chosen team is in it, otherwise the ordinary God's Chosen will die in all likelihood after entering. Wahahaha, I have already notified the top management of our Lighthouse Empire about this matter. I believe it won't be long before the treasure house of the Kangxing Empire will fall into the hands of our Lighthouse Empire. Fart, our empire on which the sun never sets is also very interested in this treasury secret. I believe friends from the Lighthouse Empire don't mind us taking a share. Asshole. Mean. Fake squid. CBDI. Captain, what's the matter with you? Is there a problem? In World of Warships, seeing that Qin Tian's complexion suddenly became very ugly, Su Jian was a little confused for a while and asked, Old Su, we've made up our minds. Hearing Su Jian's words, Qin Tian couldn't help laughing wryly and told about the live broadcast in this world. Hey, what else do I care about? So that's it, Captain, you can rest assured, I know a thing or two about the live broadcast in the world of the Chosen Ones on the previous battleship. I dare not say anything else, but the treasure house of the Empire in the Sea of Death, except for me, will never be opened by anyone else, even if he gathers millions of warships to attack, he will not be able to open it. Quote. Su Jian gave Qin Tian a reassurance and said with a hearty smile. Old Su, is what you said true? The surprise came too suddenly, Qin Tian asked in disbelief. Hee, how dare the old minister deceive the captain about this matter, because the treasury of the Kangxing Empire was originally designed by the old minister, and he knows everything inside. What? It turns out that the treasure house was designed by you yourself, Mr. Su. That's great, then I'm relieved, let me know, and the fleet will move forward at full speed. Qin Tian immediately said to his crew with high fighting spirit. And the group of foreign devils who were still in high spirits in the live broadcast room just now were collectively dumbfounded after hearing what Su Jian said. Unexpectedly, this old guy still has this backhand. Fake. The cunning Yanlong people. Countless foreign devils couldn't help but curse secretly. But now the arrow is on the string and has to be launched. They can only tell the news to their empire. Get them ready to go to the Sea of Death and prepare to fight Qin Tian for the treasure by force. After all, they heard what Qin Tian said before. An important material that an aerospace carrier needs when it breaks through into a starship is crystal ore. Who has this special material in their hands? Then whoever can fly the battleship to the T1 starship one step ahead of others. Become a star frigate, although I don't know if he can beat Qin Tian this way. But interstellar warships naturally have the ability to break out of the atmosphere and soar into the universe. Time to swim in the universe. Maybe if you encounter some special opportunities, you will have the power to rival Qin Tian. After all, compared to World of Warships on one planet, naturally, the entire universe is vaster. There are naturally more opportunities. 83%. Chapter 420 The watermelon and grapes are ripe. Boss, do you want to wait? For a while. Sea of Death, the matter of the Imperial Treasure House caused a lot of uproar and spread to all countries. But all countries that have a little confidence in the strength of their fleets have all begun to dispatch troops and prepare to compete in the Sea of Death. On the contrary, Qin Tian didn't care at all. It is still all the way, sailing unhurriedly. And in order to ease the tension of the fleet's meet, he also turned on the flat map in his mind for the next few days. Turn a corner from time to hunt sea beasts. Come down in 3 or 4 days. He has hunted and killed 3 elite sea beasts. After sailing like this for 4 days. This morning, Yu Dai and Wen Zheng suddenly found Qin Tian together. Captain, good news. As soon as Yu Dai came up, he said with a smile on his face. Hey, what good thing has happened to you, so happy? Qin Tian looked at the happy faces of the two of them. Asked some curiously. Captain, it's watermelon, the watermelon and grapes are ripe. Wen Zheng said with a grin. This time, the grapes could be cultivated so smoothly at one time, which completely exceeded his expectations. Although more than half of this is due to the creation of the planting cabin. But he is both building a shelf and pruning and watering. There is hard work without credit, right? After all, the care for the past 2 weeks was also very stressful. Now is the time to reap the fruits. That is of course a great sense of accomplishment. What? Are the watermelons and grapes ripe? Qin Tian was also shocked after hearing the news. Then they followed the two quickly to the planting cabin. As soon as he entered, he smelled a sweet aroma of grapes. Looking around, I saw that the hundreds of watermelons on the ground and the long purple oval grapes on the shelf were a little bigger than the last time I saw them. A faint glow on top indicates they are ripe. Harvesting is possible. Old Yu, Wenjung, do you still have the seeds I gave you last time? Qin Tian turned his head and looked at the two of them and asked. Yes, Captain, I used less than half of it last time. The two said hurriedly. Hearing this, Qin Tian didn't hesitate, and directly consumed wood to make a large stack of wooden baskets. Then he said to the two of them, keep those seeds for now. When we go back and occupy that god-level treasure island, we can use them again. Pick these watermelons and grapes first. I will keep half of them for use, and the remaining half for old age. You and Wenjung, you distributed oranges and apples to the crew in due course, and asked them to keep the seeds when they ate them. Although Qin Tian still has 2 packs of seeds in his hand. But then he still has to play those 2 dungeons. God knows when he will get it when he returns to the god-level treasure island. Save as much as you can now. See if there is any difference in the taste of the fruit grown from the seeds of the fruit. Yes, Captain. When they heard Qin Tian's words, the two nodded. After speaking, pick up the wooden basket and prepare to pick. By the way, Lao Yu, Wenjung, you should be able to grow watermelons and grapes with those seeds, right? Qin Tian asked as if he suddenly remembered something. Okay, Captain, don't worry. The two smiled and gave Qin Tian a reassurance. Then the 3 of them started picking little by little. In the studio, looking at the big green watermelon and the purple grapes. Countless people couldn't help swallowing hard. I lost it. The appearance of this watermelon is that kind of thin-skinned melon. It must be very sweet when it grows in such a high-end planting cabin. I'm interested in grapes. These grapes look delicious. I haven't eaten fruit for several years. I really want to take a bite. Pull it down. It's like someone hasn't eaten fruit for a few years, but in this day and age, it's good enough to be alive. If you want to eat and drink, let's sleep and sleep. Dreams have everything. Oh, I'm a nerd. I really want to taste the taste of these watermelons, but when I think that even Qin Tian's wife and daughter won't be able to eat these fruits, my hunger and thirst will return to normal. Upstairs, is your hunger and thirst normal? Oh, don't say it. It's really like this when you think about it. Originally, these grapes and watermelons were planted by Qin Shen specially for his wife and daughter, but who would have thought that after they conquered the god-level treasure island, the Lot family would do it again. Such a one-handed incident caused God Qin to not be able to occupy the island and build a portal. Asking for flowers. 0. Zhongzhou. In the villa area. Qin Xiaoxiao, who doesn't go to school on Saturday, stared straight at the watermelon and grapes in the live broadcast room, and couldn't help asking Mu Ningxie, who was washing dishes in the kitchen, Mom, are watermelons and grapes really so different? Is it tasty? Hear what my daughter said. Mu Ningxie, who is also watching the live broadcast and brushing the bowl, said softly, these 2 kinds of fruits are really delicious, my little boy. Dad encountered something temporarily this time, otherwise we should let us enter the world of warships today. It's here, you see, Dad has already knocked down the island before. I know, Mom. Facing Mu Ningxui's explanation, the little girl said in a very sensible way, Dad just told that grandfather and uncle to keep the remaining seeds and plant them after occupying the island. It must be for the little one. I stayed with my mother. 0. Seeing her daughter so sensible and well-behaved, Mu Ningxie showed a doting smile on her face, and then said, Xiao Xiao is so good, wait a while for Mom to finish washing the dishes, and take Xiao Xiao to the supermarket in the morning, okay? Really? Whoa, yes, long live Mama. Hearing that she could go to the supermarket, the little girl's heart, which was a little bit lost, was instantly filled with great surprises and expectations. People in the live broadcast room were talking about it. When Mu Ningxie took her daughter to drive to the only supermarket in the base for shopping. Qin Tian also picked all the watermelons and grapes. Looking at the watermelons on the ground and the purple grapes in each basket of 6 bunches. With a thought, Qin Tian opened Nangong Li's chat interface. Nangong, are you there? Yes, boss, are you here? Where have you been? How long will it take to get to Shaker Island? Nangongla quickly returned the message. Crackling asked a lot of questions directly. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing immediately. Then send a message to the other party. No, I won't be there in 5 or 6 days. I contacted you because the watermelons and grapes are ripe, and I plan to trade some for you. Ah, is there still so long to arrive? Well then, boss, you can just trade me some to taste, and you don't need to trade too much for me, and you don't need to trade too much for me, and you don't need